But he does anticipate eventually getting to those remnants of those objects. He does think that they will get there.
Milley's the Joint Chiefs chairman. Fox's Aisha Hasni is on Capitol Hill.
There's also been some bipartisan calls out there to hear directly.
Well,
right. Well,
if you don't know who is on the show today, it's because you don't speak alien.
What?
Remember yesterday I did a promo for Mike Bost?
Oh, we didn't actually use that as the promo.
no.
No, I did not make that the
We're
promo.
professionals, Annie.
But I did it on the air, so
Ryan.
if you were listening, you heard it.
Mhm.
It was on the air.
So take it away.
Happy February 14th.
It is Rob Thomas's birthday.
It's Rosie's birthday.
Rosie's
It is?
birthday?
She's 6.
Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20? That's weird.
He's great. He can play the piano.
Today's YouTube poll is asking, who would you vote for in the general presidential election? That
There's
is a child.
There's the kid that's just running out there.
Okay.
And they'll
Sorry
run
about
and then just
that.
stop.
Not used
And
to
then
seeing
run and stop.
children at the studio. Okay, who would you vote for in the general presidential election? Nikki Haley, a Democrat nominee, a write-in, or would you not vote? I suspect there to be many comments about that.
We have the poll is that way today because Nikki Haley officially announced today that she's running for president.
I didn't know that. Wow.
hmm
Yep.
And she's running on a platform that seems to be, I can win. That seems to be the point of the ad that I saw.
Okay, Wiggins America, why don't you share what you're going to teach us today?
He sent us a message and it said, y'all gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn. I avoided using the word scumbags on purpose.
Oh, wow.
Not about you guys.
Well, he avoided that for a reason.
Yeah, I didn't use it.
He didn't want to insult us.
There's a lot of other words I didn't use too. What we have is, because today is Valentine's Day, I understand a lot of people like to go out to eat on Valentine's Day. I don't know whether you guys are. I know that Annie probably is not, based on yesterday's
I hope to eat
conversation.
dinner today.
Yes, me too.
I literally have 2 basketball practices and a volleyball practice tonight.
Me too, except for the volleyball is cheerleading.
Might be taking
Really?
Yeah.
She's doing cheer?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
So
I suppose that counts too.
based on, did you say you are going out or not tonight?
to the gym.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
surprised you're not going out.
It's Valentine's Day. It's gonna be so crowded.
You sound like Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Let me not
Listen,
do this because of all the ways that it inconveniences
No, I
me.
promise you, my wife doesn't want to go out tonight. We talked
get
about that.
Big fan of making dinner at home.
Also, if restaurants did
Um,
dynamic pricing, they would jack up the prices today.
They do.
Oh, they do. Not the ones I go to.
Which fancy restaurants are those?
Andrea's doesn't do it.
You don't think they have a nicely priced Valentine's Day price?
They may have one special item for today,
They definitely have a Valentine's Day special. And it
but
includes
they usually
more
don't have a
things.
separate menu.
Either way, it'd be delicious.
Yeah.
Because of all of this lead up, is to say that I am going to school you guys, just in case you need it, on the 13 little etiquette rules that you may be breaking in restaurants. And if you are, I don't want you to feel shame.
Brian, I've been to
Wow.
fancy dinners with you, and I can't wait for you to tell me what we should and shouldn't.
You've been to
Right.
fancy dinners with me?
Oh yeah.
Your
I thought we
sushi
were
date?
eating an all-you-can-eat sushi
No,
bar.
no. We
You
sat.
ate at the MAC.
Yeah, we were at the Mac,
Ah, yes, indeed we
and it
were.
was fancy.
Don't
Yes.
take other people's
I was watching Ryan and
flaming rounds
taking
off their plate.
notes.
Anna ate half my steak and her steak.
I stabbed it and
no,
brought
she
it over to my
literally
plate.
says, "Don't talk with your mouth full." Hold on.
Etiquette
Talk
rules.
amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
I'm sitting there. I'm gonna have to go on the stage and do my thing. And so I was like, okay, I usually will cut my food in half and, like, in a non-MAC situation, cut my food in half, eat half of it, box half of it up, take the other half home, and then Jared eats it. I'm not going to ask for a to-go box at the MAC for an evening that I am hosting. However, we're sitting there and Hannah leans over. She goes, if you're not going to eat that, I'll eat it. And I go, knock yourself out. Go for it. So she just was like, boop. And she took it, and it was, in true boop fashion.
It was good steak, too.
It was.
Oh, it was so good.
Great.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, I could have eaten the whole thing. But
It
I had to
was
go up
good.
and talk to 400 people and then interview Brian Kilmeade, and I didn't want to have, meat belly.
Yeah.
You give Brian the meeting with the meat sweats.
Yes. No,
The
I didn't
meat
want to do
sweat.
that.
I got the meat
I don't
sweats.
really get ever to a place in my life where I have meat sweats, for the record. So. Are we in?
Wow.
You haven't lived.
All right.
It's
The
delicious.
show.
Mike Bost today, too.
That's right. Gotta love this American ride. Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
China and Russia are on the march. They all think we can be bullied, kicked around. You should know this about me. I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
So that happened. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. We're happy that you're here. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Nikki Haley has a nice little Valentine all packaged up for you. She wants to run for president, and she's asking for your vote. This is not a surprise. We now announce that we're making announcements that are usually predicated by, filings that have to do with being able to raise a certain amount of money that precede the announcements of the announcements. Regardless, the official campaign is kicked off. First and foremost, let me put this out there. If Nikki Haley is the next president of the United States, I am A-okay with that. With that being said, we have to go through a primary, and I think we have a ton of amazing options on the Republican side. In fact, I think they're all amazing options. I am voting for John Bolton over Joe Biden in a heartbeat. Not 100% sure about his platform, but I trust that he would show up to do the job. So Nikki Haley officially in the race to be the Republican nominee for the president of the United States. I'm happy about it. And I'll tell you this, Donald Trump's reaction to her comments leading into this moment about her choosing to enter the race, as far as Donald Trump comments go, they were pretty flattering. Wouldn't you say, Brad? It was not immediate pounce.
No, he encouraged her to follow her heart. Like, if this is what your heart is leading you to do, then you should do it.
And he also said that Nikki Haley, I don't know if the word was plagued, is plagued with ambition, which is not a terrible thing to say. Mm-hmm. You can hear that however you want. But then he also commented about how, she is going against her word because she did say that she would not run against Trump. And she's running against Trump. And that's almost a Trump quote. And that's how you can tell because he refers to himself in the third person. Here's today's YouTube live chat poll. And I can't wait to see how these results shake out. The poll, which you can find on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, and it's located in the live chat portion of the YouTube live right now. Who would you vote for in the general presidential election? Now, today is Nikki Haley Day because she announced today. So don't read more into this than you need to. If the ballot for the 2024 presidential election is Nikki Haley and a Democratic nominee, who are you going to vote for? Nikki Haley, the Democrat nominee, a write-in, or you wouldn't vote at all? So basically, we're saying, let's skip past the primary part and just for the sake of imagination, put ourselves in the position where Nikki Haley has won the Republican nomination and is up against a nameless, faceless Democrat nominee. Do you know who you're going to vote for? Nikki Haley, the Democrat nominee, write-in, or wouldn't vote? I can emphatically say that I would be just fine voting for Nikki Haley there. But I don't know. As of right now, the people who I anticipate getting into the primary, she would not be my top pick. Maybe she could make the case in this amount of time. We're going to be paying a ton of attention to it. that she should be my top pick. I read the first half of her book and where she's talking about being the ambassador under Donald Trump and the way that she talks about working with Donald Trump on the world stage as the UN ambassador and pairs that with experiences that she had as the governor of South Carolina. Gosh, South Carolina's got some good conservatives. Listening to her tell her stories about what she was able to do in that position. I mean, she took some unpopular stands at the UN that ended up moving the whole United Nations into supporting her, or she was okay to stand alone if that was what was necessary. So I think that she brings a lot of strength to the Republican primary. I have heard a lot of people saying Tim Scott, he's been in Iowa, he's been paying attention to things that potential presidential candidates pay attention to. Another man, a senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott would be an amazing person to have in the race. And there are other people. Of course, Ron DeSantis is not in. Will he get in? Won't he get in? Time will tell. Donald Trump officially in. John Bolton officially in. Brad, when I compare the bench and Republicans, so if you're listening to the show and you know we're a conservative news talk show and you know that I'm a conservative and I'm giving you that perspective daily, it's very easy to just live and exist in that bubble where the things we fight about are who the best like who's our dog in the fight. I don't think you're supposed to say that anymore. Race? Dog. You can't say whose dog is in the fight. That's about dog fighting. That's terrible, Brad. Why'd you do that?
I didn't say a word. Unbelievable. Outrageous.
You see how good I'd be at politics?
Oh my gosh.
Dog in the race? Horse in the race?
Horse in the race?
That's probably bad too.
Yeah.
You see how they treat those horses? Some of them are really fast.
Yeah, they hit them with whips and stand on them.
I don't even care. If you got the candidate that you really want to support, that might be Trump. It might be anybody but Trump. You might be a huge fan of DeSantis. You might be a huge fan of Nikki Haley. I could totally see why you would want to really live in that space for a while, but I think it's important to always zoom out, look at the big picture, and remember that the battles we fight now are so that we can win the bigger battles that are down the road in that general presidential election. So for me, the YouTube live chat poll, which I would really love to get your thoughts and reactions to after you vote in the comments. Who would you vote for in the general presidential election? Nikki Haley, Democrat nominee, write-in, or wouldn't vote? Nikki Haley for me. Brad, do you have an answer to this?
I do.
What
and
is
it's
it?
Nikki Haley.
Yeah? Are you there? Isn't it weird? You live in the Twitter space from time to time as well. Isn't it weird to be, like if you went on Twitter right now and said Nikki Haley would be a great president?
Oh, I'd get hammered.
Why?
Because people are crazy. No, it's because we, in the culture today, and you see it on both sides of the aisle, there's an ideological purity test. And if you aren't pure enough, they will hammer you, So they infer a whole bunch of other things about you based on your choices or what you say. And they read into what you say more than what you are actually saying. Rather than taking what you say at face value, they add a bunch of other stuff to it. It's like I always go back to it, but the donuts versus bagels, debate that we had. It's not that I don't like donuts. It's just that I would rather have a bagel.
Yeah.
So it's not disparaging against donuts.
You prefer the bagel.
It's just a preference. And it's like 1A, Mm-hmm. I would at no point in my life would I be disappointed to have a donut.
You can't have that conversation on Twitter.
No, you can't.
It's not possible to exist.
Right. Because on Twitter, when you say I like donuts, that means that or I like bagels, it means that donuts are the worst thing ever and I hate them and they should all be herded together and thrown in the trash and gotten rid of.
You didn't even mention English muffins.
And nobody should have them.
They don't even get to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's endless.
Yeah, and then you're like some sort of bigot for not mentioning the English muffins.
Yes. Oh, it's always the English.
Educate yourself.
I hate that phrase. Nikki Haley would be light years better of a president than Joe Biden. The policies and the willingness to act and her ability and her experience on the world stage would be incredibly preferable to Joe Biden. I mean, that's kind of the essence of what this poll question is today. you could even take not for the sake of the poll. The poll is the poll. It will be that way until 2:45 when Hannah gives us the results in your comments. But if you were to have the option, if it were up to you, listening right now in your car, headed to get lunch, they pull you over and they say, listen, this is a huge, huge decision, and we've chosen you to make the ultimate choice here. Would you prefer to have Nikki Haley or Joe Biden be the president? You say the word, and that's what it is. I mean, if you're listening to the show, there's a handful of you that are like, Joe Biden all the way, but most of you aren't. Most of you are picking Nikki Haley. I mean, that's really what we have to think about when it comes to that general presidential election. Now, meanwhile, she is going to have to go through a gauntlet of Donald Trump. I mean, the amount of things that Donald Trump will be able to come into the primary and say, told you so, over and over and over and over and over again, as to what would happen if Joe Biden became the president, if the Democrats got the ability to enact legislation that would be signed by Joe Biden. Donald Trump is just a walking told you so. And that's going to have impact. That's going to carry a lot of water for a lot of people. Donald Trump significantly increased his vote total in his re-election campaign than he did in his initial one. It wasn't enough. He didn't get enough votes. Republicans are going to have to figure that one out. But Donald Trump knows how the sausage is made, was able to get so many really constitutionally conservative policies put into place to, the terminology that was enacted was drain the swamp, but to be able to go in and pull the weeds so that the important parts of government can thrive. I am of the belief that the idea of big government, whether it's Democrat big government or Republican government, they want weeds everywhere so that you can't even tell what's the good and the bad. It's so awful. It's like you don't even want to start. Like, where would you possibly start to pull these weeds? It's too massive. The problem's too big. It's gotten out of hand. We can't get it back. You certainly don't want to plow the whole thing over because there is too much good and too much risk in the event that that's the measure that you take. So who's capable of going in there and pruning and weeding and plucking and deciding what goes, what stays? That's the person we need to find. It would be the most entertaining thing for Donald Trump to be able to figure out that element of campaigning. He'd have my vote if he could. If he could show me in the primary that he can effectively communicate to the American people during the campaign, because I think that once he would be reelected, he could do the job. No problem whatsoever. In fact, he's the best qualified and probably the most important person who could go in there and accomplish that. He just needs to persuade more people that that's the case than whoever votes for the other guy. So if he can make that case to the American people, I'm sitting and waiting. Nobody owns my vote. Nobody is default my vote. Everybody will have the chance to earn it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And there will be people who I can hear him clacking away right now. And he just doesn't want to commit. Yeah, you're correct. I don't need to. I don't have to. I'm not obligated to. It's my country. It's America first. And I want the best qualified candidate for the job. I want the person who brings the best resume with the best communication skills and the biggest proverbial cojones to get that job done. Could be Nikki Haley. Might not be. She's going to have to persuade a lot of people that she's not who a lot of folks out there are saying that she is. But what I've noticed is most of the criticism that comes to a lot of these Republicans who are stepping into the race, Brad, the criticism is always first in proximity to Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. It's never on the merits of the own person, their own resume, their own accomplishments, their own failures. It's always, how does this person relate to, connect with, argue with Donald Trump?
Yep.
And that shows he's a powerful dude.
Yeah.
But it's also something that if we get past this and Trump doesn't win the nomination, which I think he's definitely the favorite to, if he doesn't win it, I hope Republicans can come up with a 1A, like you said.
Yep.
the donut to their bagel, or obviously the bagel to the donut. Who doesn't prefer donuts over bagels? We can't fight all day.
Brad.
I know. There's always one.
I'm okay being the only one.
YouTube live chat poll. Who would you vote for in the general presidential election? Nikki Haley, the Democrat nominee, write it in, or wouldn't vote. Go leave your vote and your comments right there. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Valentine's Day today. Wiggins America at 12:45. He's told us that he is going to educate us on etiquette rules for dining at a restaurant. Well, I certainly can't miss that because I would be so embarrassed.
I can't wait.
So embarrassed if I didn't learn these etiquette rules from Ryan Wiggins at 12:45. Mike Bost, Congressman Bost, is going to be with us at 1:05 as well. And when Brad said, what's the subject for him? I said, the subject is what the heck is going on. So that's pretty much what we're going to talk to Mike Bost about at 1:05. We'll be right back.
It's nothing if I can't have you.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Have you been lied to by Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine? Hi, this is best-selling author Don Chamberlain from right here in Greater St. Louis, and I want to give you a copy of my new book, Crash Proof Wealth, because according to Time magazine, Wall Street's retirement plans in 401ks and IRAs have failed millions of Americans. After seeing the last market crash over 39%, I had enough. There may be a way to grow your money when the market goes up, potentially double digits in good years, reduce taxes, and have my principal protected if the market declines again. Call Chamberlain Group now to get my free book and talk to me personally to discover the strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose principal if the market declines again. Call 1-800-807-3838 to discover this asset, and I'll even cover shipping and handling. No credit card required. Call 1-800-807-3838. That's 1-800-807-3838. Again, 1-800-807-3838.
This Valentine's, let's be honest, Diamonds Direct knows what's on all of our wish lists this year. Just like the little black dress is a wardrobe staple that can be worn for any occasion, diamond classics like diamond stud earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets are the perfect addition to dress up any look. For the first time ever, Diamonds Direct is offering an amazing 25% off their Diamond Classics collection. With 25% off, it's never been easier to build a perfect timeless jewelry collection. Every outfit is complete with these classics. Dress up your look with a pair of diamond studs, tennis bracelet, or pendant. Now through the 14th, take an additional 25% off Diamonds Direct's already low prices on their Diamond Classics collection. And give that little black dress lots of sparkle.
Don't miss the best ever Valentine celebration at Diamonds Direct with unprecedented savings, in-store designer appearances, and special 0% financing offers. Get all the details at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
Attention bourbon lovers, Mark Cox here. Join me Thursday, March 2nd at the Clayton Wine House for an evening of sampling and mingling. Tickets include appetizers and tastings from some of the finest vendors in the market. Visit 971talk.com/events and get your tickets now.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
What really is going on here, Dana, is we need an explanation from the president. I mean, this is historic what has taken place here. Eisenhower was in office when NORAD was formed in 1958. And from every president up to the current one, not a single president has ever had to defend America's airspace. President Biden has done this 4 times, 3 times for America, 1 time for Canada. He has taken hostile action to defend our airspace. And we have yet to get an explanation in detail from him and the Defense Department in terms of what has taken place.
General Jack Keane really keying in on, I think, the biggest question that I have, that you might have, which is, what is going on? You look around the world right now, focus it in, look around the country right now, there are a lot of instances where you can say, what's happening here? Well, Congressman Mike Bost is going to be with us at 1:05, so please stick around for that, because that's the question that I'm going to ask him. There is no collective, solid response coming from the administration to the American people to squash the conspiracy theories, to keep people from acting in fear. It's not happening. They don't seem to care about you. And then you listen when they do have the chance to speak. Here's Kirby.
When President Biden came into office, he directed the U.S. intelligence community to do a broad assessment of Chinese intelligence capabilities. We were able to determine that China has a high-altitude balloon program for intelligence collection that's connected to the People's Liberation Army. It was operating during the previous administration, but they did not detect it. We detected it.
Yeah, you detected it after what? I mean, if you're going to brag about the fact that you detected this Chinese spy balloon, the whole country detected it as it flew over everybody. People here in our listening area were able to see this balloon. I mean, I don't know that this is the spike in the end zone that Kirby thinks it is, although it is important, clearly, to this administration that they do bring in some question, just throw it out there, set it on the table for everybody to understand that there's still a Trump factor you can hang your hat on at night if that's what helps you sleep. Listen to the former Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper.
Look, we in the Trump administration were constantly assessing Chinese capabilities, both intelligence collection, military, domestic espionage, all the time. I described China as the greatest strategic threat facing our country in this century, and I made it my priority to implement a national defense strategy that pursued that. Look, it is true that we weren't aware of this at the time, and they detected it. We don't know how, but it does seem to be finger pointing after the fact. And I think the important thing is to focus on the way ahead. and to talk about how those gaps are being closed, to really update their policy and procedures with regard to air surveillance, protecting our sovereignty, and taking the appropriate actions, because clearly they didn't make the right call, allowing the balloon to traverse the United States for 5 days and then deciding to shoot it down. That should have happened on the front end before the Chinese scooped up a lot of important intelligence from the country, from our most important strategic sites.
Esper's saying exactly what he should say there, because he really had an opportunity to punch back and try to throw some political mud back their way because they served it up first. But he refocused the importance here back onto the American people and the issue at hand. They're trying to play politics and say jokes. We listened to the whole thing on the show yesterday, where they initiate the conversation by saying, it's not aliens. It's not aliens. And then they kind of laugh about it. And then a reporter in the background, I don't know that anyone's really pointing this out. A reporter in the background goes, yeah, but would you tell us if it were? And she goes, listen, I loved E.T., but that's all I'm going to say about it. Which is a no. We wouldn't tell you if it were, which kind of makes the first statement worse. I'm just saying. I don't think that they're aliens, but I think they are idiots. Does that count? Here's James Clapper on CNN.
I'm curious, what are your questions this morning? What do you need answered?
Well, obviously, Erica, it's this is becoming Balloon Gate, I guess we could call it. What we need is, to recover these objects, as the Pentagon's call them, and figure out first where they're from, and if possible, what their source is. I think probably we've had balloons up for quite a while, and because of certain action been taken, we're much more sensitive about looking for them and finding them. So the questions I have is, where do they come from and what's their purpose?
So there's James Clapper, and you know what his response is? I have questions. James Clapper on CNN with Erica Hill has questions. Well, where does everybody's attention immediately go to? Of course, China.
Well, the problem is that President Xi, he just lies repeatedly. You can't trust him. As I've said before, I wouldn't trust President Xi. I wouldn't turn my back on him if he were 2 days dead. Now, the people of China are wonderful people, but they've been totally brainwashed.
Yeah, you wouldn't turn my back on him if he was 2 days dead. Everybody understands that China does not have American interests at heart. In fact, China has America's demise at heart. It is a pillar of the Chinese success plan. Our failure is important to Chinese success. That's clear, and that is not new information. Think about this for a second. The Biden administration is out there bragging about, we heard Chuck Schumer yesterday, right? We heard what he had to say about the fact that we shot this thing down out of the sky. And I mean, it's as political as it gets. When Chuck Schumer is talking to us about China and what
Look, I think the Chinese were humiliated. I think the Chinese were caught lying, and I think it's a real step back for them. Yes, I think they're going to have to. I think they're probably going to have to get rid of it or do something, because they look really bad. And they're not just doing the United States. This is a crew of balloons. We saw one in South America. They've probably been all over the world.
So the response from the leader in the Senate, the majority party in the Senate, is that clearly China is humiliated right now. That is not who is humiliated Senator Schumer. That is not who's sitting there hanging their head in shame right now. I don't think Americans are hanging their head in shame right now. I think that they're raising their hands and asking questions on a host of fronts. Let's do this little exercise here, because I'm going to ask you a question at the end of this segment, and I want you to think about it. You can leave comments if you would like to join us on the YouTube live chat and see if you can answer this question. But let's just take a walk around the country right now. Listen to Bernie Sanders.
Then I talk to kids about the isolation they experienced in COVID, the disruption for the first time. Modern history of this country. We all went to school. Start in kindergarten, you go to school. These kids' lives have been disrupted. They didn't get the education that they needed. They didn't see their friends. They didn't play ball. They didn't do theater.
Really? Senator Sanders? Really? Our young children, in the words of Bernie Sanders, have had their lives disrupted and they didn't get the education that they deserve. See, we agree on that. There's something that if you're listening to the show right now, there's something that I bet you agree wholeheartedly on. That statement from Senator Bernie Sanders, he gets it. You get it. You understand that our children have now been put behind the 8 ball and may never fully be able to recover in the way that they would have had that not happened. They're going to adapt. They're going to grow from it. New things will happen from it. But there is an obstacle that wasn't yours and mine to overcome. It was our children's to overcome. How did we get there? Who made those decisions? Who kept those kids out of the classrooms? Who benefited from those kids not being in the classrooms? The consistency that we see from our political leaders in sticking to their guns, even when it's hurting the smallest of us, it's really frustrating. Because what are you supposed to do when you get to that point down the road where you have the opportunity to do something about it? 630 days from today, Election Day. What are you going to factor into your vote?
I think the markets are just ridiculously complacent about the inflation situation right now. I look at tips, I look at swaps. They have break-evens of inflation of around 2%. I just don't see that. I don't see how we have inflation much below 3% this year. I don't see it coming down below that without a decent-sized recession, and nothing in this numbers gives me comfort.
So there you have an economist saying, you know, if we got a good recession, then those inflation rates would come down. Yeah, that's going to work out well for the American people. Is that what your key issue is right now? Maybe it's something scarier.
We basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sent a letter to Norfolk Southern stating that ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, ethylexyl-acrylate, and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, breached, or on fire. Caggiano says ethylexyl-acrylate is especially worrisome. He says it's a carcinogen, and contact with it can cause burning and irritation in the skin and eyes. Breathing it in can irritate the nose, throat, and cause coughing and shortness of breath. Isobutylene is also known to cause dizziness and drowsiness when inhaled.
I was kind of surprised that when they quickly told the people they can go back home, but then said if they feel like they want their homes tested, they can have them tested. I would have far rather they did all the testing.
What is happening in Ohio? This train derailment happened 11 days ago. What is going on in Ohio? Where are the environmentalists? Why are there not protests? Remember all the people who went to shut down the Keystone Pipeline that transported these things underground? Where are all those people? Ilhan Omar is tweeting out, where is Pete Buttigieg? What is Pete Buttigieg doing? Why is Pete Buttigieg not speaking on this issue?
To work with your contractors, to work with your community colleges, on building a workforce that reflects the community. We have heard way too many stories from generations past of infrastructure where you got a neighborhood, often a neighborhood of color, that finally sees the project come to them, but everyone in the hard hats on that project looking like, doing the good paying jobs, don't look like they came from anywhere near the neighborhood.
Right.
You can build community wealth that will help close wealth gaps in this country if we can tear down those barriers. But that happens at the delivery level.
Oh, there's Pete Buttigieg. He doesn't want there to be so many white construction workers. I will take a phrase from Dana Lash last night on Tucker Carlson's show. Apparently in South Bend, they called him Pothole Pete because he couldn't even fix the pothole problem in South Bend, Indiana. You make the guy who can't handle potholes transportation secretary? What a choice. And then finally, last night, there's this.
The first call that we received was from Berkey Hall. Berkey Hall is an academic building on our northern campus that borders downtown East Lansing. Initial calls reported shots fired in that building, and there was a absolutely overwhelming police response to that initial call. We had officers in that building within minutes, and in that building they encountered several students who were injured. We can confirm that 2 of the deceased were in Berkey Hall, along with several of the victims.
The killer's name is Anthony McRae, 43, history of mental health illness. Apparently, when he shot himself in the head last night after he went on a rampage at Michigan State University, officers, according to Fox News, found a note in his pocket about a threat to 2 public schools in Ewing, New Jersey, which were closed Tuesday and guarded by heavy police presence out of abundance of caution. They're saying that there is no threat there, but they did that to be safe. What are the important details? What else do you want to know about this shooter? Do you want to know what color his skin is? Do you want to know who he voted for? Do you want to know if he ever was anywhere near a Trump rally? Do you want to know if he has mental illness? Do you want to know what kind of gun he uses? These are the questions that you've been trained to ask yourself. And we live in a country right now where the color of the skin matters one way or the other so that everybody can go prove their point. The color of the skin does not matter. He's mentally ill. He was equipped with the tool that he needed to use to exact his violence that he sought after to create chaos in a world that now provides attention to these types of instances. And then he shot himself in the head. So here's the question that I want to ask you right now. And this is what I set up at the beginning of this segment. What is the state of our union? You have a real choice in front of you, as I said, in 630 days, to comb through every single detail of every single person who wants to earn your vote in a primary and then in the general election. How high are the stakes right now? Globally, locally, in our classrooms. How important is it that we give 100% due diligence to picking the right man or woman for the job? And that we push aside every single pressure, every single indication that this is a cult of personality, that you have to do this, you have to do that. Folks, it is your vote. That is your flex, to flex however you see fit. Nikki Haley announced today she's running for president. She may be your cup of tea. She may be the worst option that you've ever heard of for president. I don't know. That's up to you. But we cannot spend this moment being so absorbed in some sort of tug of war intra-party, because if that mentality wins, then you have handed your vote over to a mob that says that you're never allowed to vote for Donald Trump again, or that you're only allowed to vote for Donald Trump again, or that this person's the worst person ever to run for this office, or so on and so forth. You are equipped with the information that you need and the information that you're lacking, the ability to ask the questions to get the information you need to make the decision that best suits you and your family. That's what we have to get back to. All the campaigning and the politicking and the very, very highly researched, ridiculously, stupidly polled information that gets pushed into your face because they feel like they know where to make you itch so they can scratch that itch and earn your vote. Reflect on the State of the Union. Here's my question to you. Give me a headline from the State of the Union from President Biden last week. I bet you can't. There was no headline. The headline was that he completed it. The headline for the President of the United States telling the American people, this is the state of your union, is that he finished the job of delivering that speech. We have to do better than that. The Democrats have to do better than that. I'll put my entire party aside that I belong to. The Democrats have to look at this country and the state of our union right now and know that they have to put up somebody better than that. If they don't, I feel like it would be easier to beat. If it's Joe Biden in 2024, I feel like that's an easy ticket to beat, but I felt like it should have been last time. We didn't stick the landing there. We can't afford not to in 2024. Consider all options. Be passionate about where you apply your senses and your allegiance and speak for the person who you want to vote for, be it Trump or anybody else. Don't let anyone try to acquire you or use you as an accessory to benefit something that ultimately doesn't benefit the American people. Because right now, not only is our country on fire, literally on fire in Ohio, they don't even feel pressured to respond to it. They don't even feel the obligation to talk to you about it. We have to do better. Speaking of, how are your dinner etiquette rules? Maybe you have to do better. The person who we all go to on the Annie Frey Show for etiquette coaching, Ryan Wiggins, in the studio when we come back. Of course you have to hear this. Don't go away.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group and their family business with Bob Kershaw and Bob's wife Tammy are there to help you establish a worry-free retirement. Anything worry-free these days is pretty much priceless. Retiring is exciting. Retiring, I remember when my mom and my dad both went into retirement and just like the relief, like they just walked around smiling as happy as could be all the time. If I went over their house right now, they'd just be sitting on the couch smiling. Retirement, being worry-free, that's a really, really important thing. You want to make sure that the efforts that you've put in so far to sacrifice and save, when you get to have that retirement, that it's there and worry-free. So you can walk around like a goofball all day smiling because you're retired. Yeah, I hear it. I understand it. I'm far away from it. I'm jealous of you if you're in a position to call Thomas Helbig right now and say, let's talk about my worry-free retirement. I'd like to hear how you do it. He'll sit down, free, no cost, no obligation retirement review, 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And set that appointment up and get the conversation started. There's really, literally nothing to lose. He will offer you a copy of his second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement, as well. 36 years in the business, retirementkey.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain, very intense. I had instability. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what to do. And I was driving past the Good Feet store. I mean, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure they fit me with the right thing. They brought out several different arch supports and gave me the opportunity to try them in shoes and walk around with them until they found the perfect ones. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Deerberg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort you might have been missing for years. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes, stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
I'm Eric Robert with Stifel. The economy is always changing, but what does it mean for your investments? Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Bob Stockdale during On the Money, Saturday mornings from 11 until noon on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Bundle up and save 20% on new HVAC system and attic insulation. To make your home more energy efficient and to get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk.
Talk radio, and I love politics.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I love it.
Everyone is welcome. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
It's all yours.
All right, you guys, it's time to bring some class to you, plebes, and to all of St. Louis, for that matter.
Yeah, I love how this is an etiquette segment.
This is about etiquette rules to follow when you're dining at a restaurant. Now, I feel like we, in this room, could improve on this a little bit. So I'm going to jump around to the rules that I think are the most important for you guys to acknowledge next time we are eating at a fine restaurant.
I promise that the next time we're eating together at a fine restaurant, I'll do these things.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
First, wait to be seated. This is coming from Reader's Digest, okay? This is a cross-section of the entire nation needs to hear this. You don't just walk into a nice restaurant, walk past the maitre d', and just sit down and say, serve me.
Okay.
You have to wait to be seated.
Like 6-year-old level education, but continue.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you've mastered that one. Here's another one. Put your napkin on your lap.
Okay. Obviously.
Do you all do this?
Yes.
I just threw it on the floor, but
Don't do that in the future.
I put it on my head.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a really good
I'm
one.
going to put it on his head.
Don't leave your phone on the table.
Correct.
Anybody do that here?
No.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm looking at all of you. Okay, apparently we're
starting to get the cold
3 for 3.
sweats, Ryan? Are you
No.
on the island all by yourself right now?
I can see right now that you guys have done a pretty good job so far.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? Now, I will admit, this one sometimes I tend to forget. I'll catch myself.
Is this the first one that you forget?
This is the first one. All the rest of these, I am stellar on.
Talking with your mouth full?
No. Never.
No, he's not stellar on that one. He does that.
Needs improvement.
Wait for everyone
1 star, wouldn't recommend.
to be served before you start eating.
Of course.
That goes for any dining thing, not just fancy restaurants.
That's very true. But let's admit that we've all maybe nibbled a little bit before all the food has come out, right?
Not if it's a fine dining situation.
I didn't say it was fine dining. It's just at restaurants in
Did we?
general.
Was
No,
this
you
not
did say
implied
fine dining.
Yeah, we preface this with fine dining.
I mean, it can be fine dining.
No,
but it's
you
just
should wait
restaurants.
until everyone's served before you eat. Unless everyone goes, oh no, eat, and then you should obligatorily say, oh, it's okay, and then determine whether or not they were serious.
Well, I think that bleeds into this one.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should order the same number of courses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really eat in many fine dining places where I'm ordering courses. Like if there are courses, it's usually predetermined. But that makes sense.
I don't really know that I agree with that one. Like if you want an appetizer and I don't, that's fine.
Shouldn't I share my appetizer with you?
If you ordered an appetizer and if there are 4 people at the table and it's 2 couples or whatever, and somebody orders an appetizer, the appropriate thing to do is to offer to share it.
Yeah.
Always. And I would even venture to say that the appropriate thing to do is to refuse it and then there should be an insistence, and then you can kind of feel it out.
There has to be that
Yeah.
dance. That
if you're
fight.
talking about etiquette, then I think that's the proper etiquette.
When you mentioned that previous one about waiting for everybody to sit down, you've ever gone out to eat with somebody and like they got a salad and they bring the salad out, but but you didn't end up getting a salad, so you're like, oh, do they let their salad sit there, or
You should
how does that
indicate
work?
ahead of time that you want it with your meal, as your meal.
I always do.
Yeah.
And they don't always listen.
I believe that.
And it doesn't always have to be nice food. It could be a plate of loaded nachos. Does anybody else want some of these loaded nachos? I'll give you the pieces that have the most meat and cheese on them. Oh, no, Ryan. You can just eat them yourself. Oh, no, I insist. I would always insist that you guys share my loaded nachos.
Who here has been out to dinner with Ryan before? Oh, that's just me, right?
Well, we
that's
ate
not
at,
how this went.
We ate at Rock and Brews.
Well, that's true.
I wasn't there.
He didn't wait for
We
me.
ate at the MAC with Brian Kilmeade.
And he said he'd never do it again.
I will
Just
out
not
myself.
at that table. He'll probably come back.
I've held the facade up long enough that I will out myself and say that I think, I can't remember exactly because I was just enthralled by everybody. You were up on the stage speaking. Brian Kilmeade
You were
was
enthralled
there.
by my speech?
Yeah. Both
Full of
Marks
crap.
were there. Everybody was talking, making merry. And I think that I may have eaten some of Allison's food,
That's embarrassing.
who is Brian Kilmeade's producer.
Why are you saying that on air? And why did that happen?
I'm not, well, you ate some of Annie's food.
That's different.
She leaned over and said, if you're not going to eat that, I cut my steak in half. It was a filet. It was an amazing filet.
So good.
And she goes, if you're not going to eat that, I'll eat that. And I said, go for it. So actually, we switched plates, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is what I do with my husband. Standard eating procedure.
So you don't shovel the food off of your plate onto his plate. You just switch plates.
He eats his food, and then I eat what I'm going to eat, and I try to eat half of what's served of me. And then when the time is right, nobody's looking, we swap plates. And then he eats my food.
That's fine. That's fine.
I am Jared.
Yeah.
Last one, just so I can fit this in, just to be sure. Hold your wine glass by the stem. Don't hold it like I would probably hold it underneath the glass and swish it around and make everybody look at it. So that's just a few as you head out for Valentine's Day tonight.
At 1:25, the whole crew's going to be in here. We're going to find out what our love languages are.
Ooh.
Oh.
Got to wait for that. Don't go away.
There are a lot of smart business people out there making smart decisions by getting Rhino Shield. The latest one, the Central Illinois Care Services, they have decided to go with Rhino Shield on the outside of their building so they won't have to worry about maintenance from now on. The list is long. Joe's Tire out in Sullivan, Stonehill Wineries in Herman, they've all got Rhino Shield on their buildings. You can have it on your business or your house. Just call 877-25-RHINO. Let Darren come out and give you a free estimate as to what it would cost to get this great product on your home. 25-year transferable warranty, 100% waterproof, 8 to 10 times thicker than paint, and as a satisfied customer, 15 years in, I can tell you it looks as good as the day they put it on. You're going to love Rhino Shield. Call them right now. Tell them you heard about it on the Mark Cox Morning Show. Again, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25RHINO.com.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, Cash back at participating convenience stores, too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The motive remains a mystery. And Lisa Brady, Fox News. After the mass shooting that killed 3 students, critically wounding 5 more at Michigan State University.
As parents, we tell our kids it's going to be okay. We say that all the time. But the truth is, words are not good enough.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer, as President Biden makes another appeal to Congress to reform gun laws. The killer who opened fire in 2 buildings at MSU was later found dead, identified as 43-year-old Anthony McCray.
A citizen tip led law enforcement to a location several miles from here. It's an off-campus location. They confronted McCray, and he turned the gun on himself, and that's where he died.
Fox's Mike Tobin in East Lansing. Investigators finding no connection between McCray and MSU. The New York Post reporting a history of mental illness and a note threatening a New Jersey school district, which was closed for today as a precaution. Congress being warned about an inflection point in efforts to fight the sexual exploitation of children online. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children telling a Senate hearing they're averaging 80,000 new reports every day, and that encryption is shielding abusers. At least one lawmaker suggesting a national minimum age for social media. Fox's Jillian Turner.
There's a whole slate of draft legislation out there right now that deals with these issues. Senator Josh Hawley is leading the way with a proposal that bans social media for all kids under 16.
I mean, we now have more and more data on the effects of social media platforms on children, particularly young children, and it's overwhelmingly negative.
13 is the age now at which Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook allow kids onto their platform.
However, current age restrictions are not always enforced. Just getting word that longtime California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein will not seek re-election next year. She says she'll accomplish as much as she can for the state through the end of next year when her term ends. Feinstein is 89. America is listening to Fox News.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Dell Technologies President's Day business event starts now with deals to power America's doers and dreamers. Save on select performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for President's Day deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Periods of rain. It's not a lot of rain total, but it's kind of wet as we go through this Tuesday afternoon. Strong gusty winds from the south. Some of the gusts pushing 45, 50 miles per hour. 55 for the high. Tonight, slow clearing, still windy all night long. 45 Wednesday, on track to be the warmest of the week by far. Lots of sunshine, 69 for the high Wednesday afternoon. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You found 97.1 FM Talk, where we ask questions, even when the legacy media won't. Especially when the legacy media won't.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
So if you're looking for budget-friendly grocery shopping alternatives, have you shopped at Ruler Foods yet? My family has shopped there multiple times, and it's a staple shop for us. So we go through and we have bought produce there. I know that we bought avocados. We buy like individually wrapped salads. And there's a lot of name brand stuff at Ruler Foods that come at great prices, but they also have Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. And this really, really, really helps us offset some of that extra expenditure that comes along with grocery shopping, especially for the 6 people in our house. If you're ready to save money, start with going to Ruler Foods, rulerfoods.com. You can check out their website and find the Ruler Foods closest to you. But you can also enjoy great savings on 73% Kroger lean ground beef, $2.49 a pound, sold in a 3-pound roll. Red or white seedless grapes, $1.47 a pound. I think we've bought grapes from there as well. Really delicious produce and at a great price. Reach out to the local Ruler Foods near you and find out how you can start saving big time on your grocery budget, like the Frey family. And let me know once you've gone there what you think. Rulerfoods.com.
Are there ways you could dramatically reduce your taxes in retirement? Oh, you better believe it. Learn how in a one-night adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. It's held at colleges and universities throughout Greater St. Louis. Each class is taught by a fiduciary advisor with decades of financial planning experience. In just 3 hours, you'll learn how you could reduce your taxes in retirement, get more from Social Security, pay for health care, invest for income, and more. If you've saved at least $300,000 for retirement, register by calling Financial and Tax Architects, your retirement professors, at 314-626-8816. You'll pay zero tuition if you call today. So don't wait. Call 314-626-8816. 314-626-8816.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Underlaw, we take on the establishment and challenge corporations to be better for the safety of our community.
Call Underlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Mr. Secretary, have you been able to recover any part of the most recent 3 objects? And why continue to call them objects? Are these not balloons?
Well, we're going to confirm what they are once we have collected the debris. But to answer your question, we've not recovered any debris from the 3 most recent shootdowns.
So there you have Defense Secretary Austin talking about the fact that we haven't recovered any debris from the most recent shootdowns. And in the last hour, I just went through a host of things happening in this country right now that have a lot of people who I talk to, myself included, saying, what's going on? And I would love to have played a clip there from our president, but he hasn't spoken on these issues. It's really quite something. So we go to our local Congressman, Mike Bost, who joins us right now. He represents Illinois' 12th district. That's kind of the subject matter for the entire opportunity to talk with you here, Congressman. What's going on in our country right now?
Exactly. You know, Annie, it was 2 Fridays ago. I stood, now remember, right there in my front yard in Southern Illinois and watched this spy balloon. I've got pictures coming right over my front yard at 5:15 in the afternoon. You know, the President Biden just let it cross the entire United States without shooting that one down. You know, this is a serious problem. My Marine side is really like, okay, this is simple. You don't let a foreign country float a balloon across the entire United States. 'Cause just think about it. We know from your listening audience, that balloon went over Whiteman Air Base. It went over Scott Air Force Base. It has Trancon. We should have taken action sooner on that one. But now all of a sudden, after we do that, here in a short period of time, we've got 3 other balloons that they shoot down, but we haven't recovered anything from them yet.
And we should be asking certain questions. First off, we should ask what the objects were, because they're saying they're not a weather balloon. What kind of threat do they pose? Vitally important for, security. Why have the three? Why all of a sudden we've got three in a row? Was there more that we don't know about? And why weren't you doing your job if that's the case? And why did it take American citizens taking a photo of the spy balloon that flew all the way across the United States and get it to the media before they actually admitted that it was there?
Yeah. I mean, you're asking all the questions.
That's a problem.
What do you as a congressman, what kind of briefings do you get on this? Should you get on this? Or maybe you're not on the committees. Like, what are you privy to that we're not?
Right. So what I want to tell you is that a week ago Thursday, we were called in for a secure briefing remember that the other three had not come into the picture yet. So on the China balloon that had been shot down. And one of the questions, and once you have the briefing, you can't tell what was said in the briefing, but let me tell you, I'm not satisfied with the information they gave us. But one of the questions I did ask, and I will not tell you the answer, but I did ask this question, and that was, I said, you have claimed that there have been others that have come into our airspace over the last time frame, and I won't tell you what that time frame is, and that it happened during another administration as well, but yet that administration and its people who have security clearance can't say, yes, it did happen, or no, it didn't happen. They don't have to give the detail. And I can guarantee you that our security, our committee and the committees with the need to know were not briefed on it. And my question to them was, had someone in the West not looked up in the sky and said, I'm seeing this, and then gets a reporter, and the reporter had not reported, would they have even told us anything about what was going on?
Yeah. I mean, it's so disconcerting that there's radio silence from the administration. I mean, I understand even asking you that question that there are going to be things that you're going to be privy to that we're not. I understand that system, but there is no leadership coming out of this administration to put the worries and fears of the American people at ease right now, so much so that it almost makes me feel like they can benefit more from the lack of discussion.
Radio silence.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And the problem and the concerns that I see is not only with the administration, but the Department of Defense under this administration, the heads of NORAD, and other security areas that we have. And I'm going to tell you, there's two sides. There's the people that need to know and do know from the military that I feel are giving us half responses. And then others that are giving us responses that have never been military, that isn't a good idea either. I heard a senator say the other day, well, we were able to track the one until it got dark. Well, you got to remember that I was a radar guy in the Marine Corps, and it doesn't matter whether there's light or not. Guess what we do?
Yeah.
We can track it. Okay? Just saying. And so for a politician to make that statement, but the politicians who, remember this is another reason why, Annie, that we put in the Rules Committee, the Church Committee. Remember this. What does the Church Committee do? It has nothing to do with a church you go to with your religion. It has to do with the fact that this was from a committee that was back in the 70s that Senator Church put together. And that's when they had rogue agencies going off and making decisions on their own without seeking and keeping Congress advised and or using their agency as a lever against the American people, not by Congress, but by their own power under that agency. Now, whether it is DOD not reporting, securities forces also not reporting, things like this, or the use of the IRS as a political tool, or the use of the Department of Justice as a political tool. All of those are under our purview as Congress, and that's why our oversight, it's not just a suggestion you have to tell Congress. You have to tell Congress. We are country that is based on a constitutional republic, democratically elected constitutional republic. That means that we are the ones to answer the people, and you answer to us as an agency because we are the people and we're the ones that are in charge of you. And there's way too many questions for that type of government on today's stage, and it's really a problem, and we've got to get it straightened out.
I'm into that. We're speaking with Congressman Mike Bost. He is the congressman for Illinois' 12th District. He's chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee as well. Congressman, I see these balloons, the way the country is talking about it, and the administration, at least in conversation with the American people, they ignore it. I see a crisis on the southern border. This administration towards the American people, they ignore it. There's a crisis in Ohio right now with a train derailment. You're
doggone right.
The Ohio River is a main contributor to the Mississippi River. I mean, this right. has the potential to be catastrophic on a historical level, and I don't see the administration talking about it.
But that's just it. You have people like Buttigieg over the Department of Transportation. It's been crickets, except for the fact that very little on this train derailment and the damage that it's done. But he wants to tell you how important it is that all of his employees are woke, and he wants to tell you how important it is that we deal with something with climate change. What we need to do is figure out how to take care of the people today, and the whole long-term goal, we have to have that too, but that doesn't mean you put your head in the sand because of your incompetence when it comes to a major catastrophe that happens in our American cities, and or whether it's a balloon floating across and spying on every military base we got.
Yeah. Congressman Bost, I want to give you the opportunity to speak to your constituents and those that are around the Illinois 12th District. That's a lot of people here in our listening area. People are scared. People are worried. People are concerned right now. Do they have the right to have those feelings, and what should they do about it?
Here's let me tell you, I do not believe that we're going to be invaded right away, okay? But I do believe that people need to understand that China is a true adversary and enemy that we fight with every day, trying to make sure that we understand that we've got to understand that they are a clear danger. People being in a panic would not be the wise thing to do. But one thing we need to do is make sure that we, as your representatives, are held accountable to make sure that this administration is held accountable so that our government works the way our government's supposed to work. And that should be the concern, to make sure that the right people are there representing them. And even though we're still a long way off from the next election, it should be a constant concern of the listeners. And this is the type of stuff that can happen if you don't have the right people in place.
Yeah, Congressman, there are 630 days until the next presidential election, and I would assume that a country that is our adversary, that may detect weakness right now, could maybe do quite a bit in those 630 days. Do the American people need to be calling, ringing the phones, talking, sending emails? What's the right response here?
We are a representative form of government. Your representatives need to know how you're feeling. If you're in a district that is your representative is not doing the job they need to be doing, yes, call them. If you are or you have a senator that you don't feel is doing that, then call them. As far as the administration, you can call. I think you'll get crickets back, but they need to know and be aware that we as American citizens are concerned. That one spy balloon should have never been allowed to fly that distance across the United States. But once again, we were also upset with the way that DOD handled the withdrawal from Afghanistan. So the list goes on and on. But the answer is continue to reach out to your elected officials. Remember, you are the people and you are the government. And therefore, if the government is not working for the people need to be sending a clear message. They won't be working for you very long.
Congressman Bost, thank you for the time today. We're really grateful for it. And
Annie, thank you for having me on.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Congressman Mike Bost, he is the representative for the Illinois 12th District, and he chairs the House Veterans Affairs Committee. And, that's quite an interesting conversation. that we just had there with the congressman talking about the briefing that they got last Thursday. And he couldn't divulge it was a security briefing, so there are things that he can't talk about here, of course. But, asking the questions, telling us the questions that he himself asked in that hearing, and being very frustrated, like you and I likely are, that there isn't a concise, clear message coming from the administration that represents the United States of America on a global stage. Brad, it's not so much that I want the American people, or that I want the president of the United States to speak to the American people. I want the world to see the president of the United States speak to the American people.
Yes. Project strength, project confidence, project that you are in control and that you are at the helm. Right now, it looks like, and the rest of the world is watching. They're always watching. They're waiting. To sit here and think the people are just like, the United States is always going to be the world superpower. No. There are lots of countries out there that would like to see us fall, and they're just waiting for their opportunity.
Yeah, and you'd say they're going to slip in the back door, but we've got the front door wide open on the southern border, and we statistically can prove that we're apprehending people who absolutely don't have America's best interests at heart on a regular basis. It's frightening. Congressman Bost, thank you very much for that time today. Appreciate that. Also, he said that we are not going to be invaded right away.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He goes, we're not going to be invaded. I was like, whew. And he goes right away. And I was like, oh, wait, what? Anywho, we'll follow up with him maybe in a week's time or so to see how this continues to evolve. I want to hear from the president. I'm worried about what the president's going to do and say with that time that he's going to be entrusted with to communicate and convey strength. I don't want him to go be given that opportunity and then have him go off script. But, as much as Donald Trump would go off script and really become the story and take away from the story, there were times where he addressed and went straight 100% teleprompter. And those times where those were like, I'm leaning in going, tell me every word you're going to say, because clearly this message was conveyed in such a way through the bully pulpit of the president of the United States position behind a podium to deliver this message that every word mattered. You cannot conflate words when you're talking about China or Russia. You can't risk deciding to, kind of do the political dunk. And I'm saying this like Donald Trump did this all the time. He couldn't hardly ever pass up an opportunity. Like if he came to his head and it was a land that jab, he was going to do it. There were a few times where he approached the podium and delivered a speech and went word for word with the teleprompter, and those were some impactful times. President Biden, this is your time. Step up. Project strength. Do it. Let's talk about love languages when we come back. Do you know your love language? Do you know about love languages?
I do. I've actually have some experience with this. It's been some years, but I still think that they know what they are.
I read this book a while ago. I did the audiobook of it. And the love languages book for me was legitimately life-changing. That might sound a little dramatic, but it's for real. Nobody's paying me to say that. I had credits on my Audible and I was like, I've heard of this. Let's learn. We're going to talk as a studio here when we come back about what our love languages are, how people can express love to us individually the most, but also how do we express love? That's where the game changer was for me. We'll talk about that. Happy Valentine's Day when we come back. Don't go away.
Shots of patrol, and it's on, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Like I'm ready, 'cause it's a beautiful.
Stewie, it's Stewart's American Mortgage. Easy number to call, 314-324-4440. You reach out to Stewie and you talk to him about the home that you are looking at purchasing. You're going to quickly understand how he can make you the most competitive buyer that seller is going to entertain. You've got a good offer to make, but you want to make sure that it's the one that secures the home for you. That, my friends, is with the bagel loan. When you use the bagel loan, you're not going to pay fees that other lenders out there are going to charge you. This can rack up in the thousands. Stewie takes care of all of that closing cost stuff for you. You don't have to pay him. They don't exist. He doesn't finance them into the loan. If you don't believe me, call him on it. Reach him out to him. Text him, 314-324-4440, and ask him how a bagel loan can help you with that home purchase. Closing in 12 days, no closing costs, and automatically generated pre-approval letters up to your pre-approved amount. This is what makes you the winning offer on that home that you want to buy. It's with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
$3,333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey is investigating the WashU Children's Hospital whistleblower case, and he joins me Tuesday evening.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cupid, draw back your bow and let your arrow go straight to my lover's heart. For me, for me. Cupid, please hear my cry and let your arrow fly straight to my
You're
lover's
listening to The
heart.
Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Good to have you back with us on Valentine's Day. Are you guys excited that it's Valentine's Day, Ryan?
Not even in the slightest.
What if I got you something?
My excitement would tick up a bit.
Nice catch. You weren't even looking when I threw it.
Wow. He's got that hockey goalie reflexes right there.
Is that good?
Those right now, yeah.
No, you will not, Mr. Etiquette.
Well, that was a different segment.
This is fine dining, don't you know?
No.
That could be a segment. Fine dining with the Annie Frey Show. $1.25. Here's chocolate for you guys.
You got the good stuff.
Oh, these are really good.
Yeah, they're really good.
These aren't the
Thank
cheap
you. Ryan got
I
a
think that
special guy.
your guys' candy, chocolate Ghirardelli stuff for Brad and Hannah. If I bought you the biggest bag of gummies that was whatever, I'd still think that was a crappy gift. But that's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar-free gummies.
Well, these are Swedish
Those are
fish.
actually supposed to be really good.
Well, they're low sugar, too.
Yeah, low sugar Swedish fish.
Have you had those?
Sure.
I've had the brand. I don't know if I've had that particular candy, but these are good.
On a break, you'd go out somewhere else and eat it and come
Yeah,
back.
not
to
in
us.
the
I do not
microphone,
want to listen to
please.
you eat gummies on the air.
I'll-
I'm not equipped for that
Here's what I'll do.
in life.
I will eat them slowly, and I'll hold my nose so that I have to breathe through my mouth.
Oh,
Gross.
I vomit thinking about that. Oh, it's the worst.
I wonder what Ryan's love language is.
ASMR.
So let's talk about love languages. It's Valentine's Day, and I'm a big believer in love languages. I read the book, and Hannah, you're standing so close to me.
I won't look.
No, it's okay. You got to look at me. But it's just funny because she's in the microphone right next to me. She's like 2 feet. Like I could touch her. But you guys are way on the other
usually
side.
this close when I'm always here.
But not for like a long conversation. It's okay. One of my love language. One of them is physical touch. And that is
Are
not
you
mine.
sure?
It's personal space.
No, what I'm telling you is
Yours is not physical touch.
I will cope.
One of my love languages is not having people around.
No, well, I mean, honestly, it just was funny because she was standing there in the mic, but then she turned to pit, like she did a 90-degree turn.
Yeah,
to
she
face
turned to
me
look
when
at
I
you.
was I was like, ah!
But then had to lean away a little bit because it's a little uncomfortable.
This is like,
Get away from me.
This is cheaper than therapy, folks, but I'm embarrassed that you all have to hear it. It's just a really, really close quarters in a big room. Love languages. Which love language? If anybody in this room is going to stand this close to me, I'm glad it's Hannah. How does that make you feel? Would you like some of my lunch? There's a grape or some prunes.
I always stand
I will.
here.
I'll take it.
No, you don't.
What? Yes, I do. I stand here every day to do the poll results.
At 2:45.
So you're just not used
Yeah.
to me standing here at 1:30.
Yeah, for a long time. It's okay. I'll get used to it.
Okay.
Hey, you've gotten nothing but compliments since you've been standing there.
Oh, I'm sure.
If I were standing there, she'd be like, "There's a particular scent near me," or something.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I'd be like, will you please go stand over there?
Yeah,
She would never tell you.
No.
She'd just move you.
I would just be like, could you please relocate? There's 3 microphones, 3 or 4, 3 extra. There's 6 total, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hannah just she's my Valentine. I told you yesterday we were going to high five. High five, Valentine. There we go. We can do that because we're so close.
You didn't even have to extend your arm.
No, I actually kind of had to pull it back so she didn't hit me in the face. Love Languages. It's a book. I've read it. A lot of people have read it. It's used a lot, I think. Is it used in premarital counseling?
Sometimes, yeah.
And then maybe marital counseling as well.
Marital counseling.
You said you did a book study on it.
Yeah.
Ryan, are you familiar with love languages?
Yeah.
How familiar?
I think I
Masterclass?
started reading the book.
You wrote it.
I don't think I finished it, but I started.
Hannah, have you ever talked about love languages or learned about them at all?
I have, but I don't think I know all of them.
Okay, so there are 5 different love languages. And the thing that I think this is so indicative of the human condition. The thing that I didn't realize when I was reading this book is that I look to identify how much people care about me. I mean, and I'm talking spouse, but also family members or just friendships or whatever. There is a way that you feel that people can express their love to you where you feel it the most, just because of who you are, just because of how God made you. The idea that somebody could express love to you, if it fits right in with the way that you identify it the most, that's different than somebody who is showing you emphatically that they love you, but it's not in the way that you receive it the best. Because I was thinking okay, here are the 5 love languages. Words of affirmation is the first one. Physical touch is the second one. Receiving gifts, third. Quality time, fourth. And acts of service. So, for instance, I will go first on what my love languages are. Because what I realized is that how I perceive that somebody is loving me can be very different than how my first go-to on how I communicate to somebody that I love them. So you have a love language that you speak, and you have a love language that you hear. And I think that the way that this was dramatically impactful in my life was when I read about this, I realized that there were people who were always showing me that they loved me in their own way. It's just not my preferred way to hear it. And when you start kind of softening yourself to the selfish, like, in the book talks about like physical touch, like men, you were saying this off the air, Brad, you were like, men, you have to just understand physical touch, number one, we know. Okay, we get it. Now let's go to number two, because that is generally, but not for everybody. But if somebody is showering you with things, then their love language is probably maybe receiving gifts, because they feel the most loved when people give them things or show like a physical gratitude by a gift. And a gift it's not like, oh, it's a new car, but I mean, just generous spontaneity, flowers on a random Tuesday in January versus a specific Tuesday in February. That is a way that some people will just show that they care about you. If that's something that someone's doing to you, but your love language that you speak the most is words of affirmation, and you'd rather hear it than like see an unspoken vase of flowers, it's very freeing to understand that someone has been trying to tell you over and over and over and over again in their love language that they love you, but you just haven't heard that. So in a relationship where two people are friends, family, significant others, marriage, or whatever, it's important to understand that people speak and people hear different love languages, and that you also, while you have to communicate, this is the way you can make me feel the most love, you also have to be very willing to hear someone who says, this is the way I speak love the most. So words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. Far and away, the way I feel the most appreciated and loved in basically every relationship that I have, maybe save my parents, and I think that's kind of like a separate thing, because for me, I would say that's probably words of affirmation. I want to know that my parents are proud of me and like, good job, and then moving on. Acts of service. Big time acts of service. It says if acts of service is your love language, how to communicate. It says use action phrases like I'll help, or they want to know you're with them, partnered with them. Actions to take. If somebody is trying to show love to me in the way that I understand it and appreciate it the most and the easiest, do chores together or make them breakfast in bed, go out of your way to help alleviate their daily workload. From your lips to God's ears. For instance, when I'm like, what my husband will often do for me for my birthday, or just if he's got some time and he wants to do something that he knows is like, he's really trying to show me, I care about you, I love you. Saturday mornings, he gets all the kids out of the house and lets me sleep in, and he tries to do that early enough so that I'm still in a deep sleep and I can wake up when I want. He puts all the kids in the car, he takes them all out to breakfast, and then he has all of the kids clean out my car, gets the car washed, vacuum the car. So when I wake up on my own and come downstairs, and he'll usually bring me like a coffee back or something, which is probably my breakfast, there will be a perfectly clean car. Oh my gosh. I literally say to him, don't buy anything for Christmas. Just do that. And I will be over the moon. So I think that for me, my acts of service that I appreciate other people doing for me, I have a tendency to kind of try to do that for other people, to show, to help, to be a partner with them. But then again, it's also important with each of you three as a team on this show, with my husband, and understanding, he might understand that when I do something, I'm doing it to express love to that person, or to him specifically. But that doesn't mean that's the way he hears it the most crystal clear. So Brad, I'll ask you, the way you speak it and the way you hear it.
Man,
words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service, and I can read details on
and I'm kind of blended between two of them. So I'm very much a words of affirmation kind of person. I speak that a lot.
So how to communicate with somebody who appreciates that is to encourage, affirm, appreciate, empathize, and listen actively. Things that you can do, actions you can take for someone like that: send an unexpected note, text, or card, encourage genuinely and often. Things to avoid: non-constructive criticism not recognizing or appreciating effort.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So that and then you pair that with, like you said, acts of service. I like doing nice things for people.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
those are mine.
Ryan, what do you think? How do you speak it? How do you hear it?
Received, we're putting aside physical touch.
Right.
So received, it would be words of affirmation. And then I tend to give that because that is the way I hear it. But I think based on the way that my wife responds when I do things like the dishes or clean the counter, she would probably be acts of service. So I try to be cognizant of that. And I don't even know if that's actually a love language.
You're saying that you think your wife's
what she receives,
what she wants the most is acts of service.
I think.
I don't want to speak for all women, but that's got to be high up there.
I agree. And just like physical touch would be high up for men. Like, I think that may be a quality that is probably more common to women. So I try to do that, and I'm okay at it. I'm not great at it, but I think that at least I'm trying.
But what you're saying right now is that the words of affirmation is what works best for you. The easiest way for someone to show that they care is to provide those words of affirmation. And that's what you most easily return because you understand it. But you're saying also that you have, as you've been married 15 years, you have learned what you have to more actively do for your wife to make sure that she understands that. And it makes it's such a huge game changer when you realize that maybe somebody has been communicating to you in a specific way that really shows that they care a lot. You weren't hearing it. It was like you weren't speaking their language. Hannah, do you want to do it now? Or you want to answer it when you think about it on the break and come back?
We can talk about it after we come back.
You want to come share my microphone with me?
You already are.
And a camera. Come here, Hannah. I'm okay with that. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Let's do it when you said when we come back, right?
Yep.
When we come back, Hannah's going to tell us about her love languages. And I would love to know what you guys think about your specific, if you've ever read this book or whatever. I'm reading from alivecounseling.com. No relationship with them, but they just had them in a nice little graph and chart for me to consume and repeat for you right here on the Annie Frey Show. We'll be back in just a minute.
Please hear my cry and let your arrow fly straight to my lover's heart for me. Now, Cupid.
Fountains Family Dentistry at fountainsfamilydentistry.com. I always talk about how easy it is to make an appointment there. Do I ever mention how nice they are? I think I do, but they're just the nicest people, and they're going to make things easy on you, not just in making the appointment, but once you get there. You can see testimonials at their website, but that's one of those things you go, do I really trust the testimonials that they're posting on their website? They're real, but you'd probably edit out the bad ones. So go type their name into Google, and you'll see whatever you want, and you'll see that their name is always at the top of testimonials on all of the different websites that rank dentists. And that's for real. There's nothing they can do to change those. I think they have an A+ on the one that's like the medical Yelp or whatever that's called. So Fountains Family Dentistry is in Fairview Heights, easy to get to from either side of the river, but especially if you're in Illinois, right off of Highway 64 and 159. And again, very easy to make an appointment with them because they are open late some days, open early some days, just for your convenience. Give them a call or visit their website to find their phone number, or put it in right there. Put it in when you want to visit them at fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
For the first time, Diamonds Direct is offering an extra 25% off all of their Diamond Classics collection. 25% off diamond stud earrings, 25% off diamond tennis bracelets, and 25% off diamond pendants and more. It's true. This Valentine's Day, Diamonds Direct lets you take a full 25% off all these must-have jewelry box staples. Diamond Classics are like a little black dress. It's jewelry that never goes out of style and something you can wear every day, whether it's just running errands or going out on the town. A nice pair of diamond stud earrings goes with anything and everything. And now through Valentine's Day, you can take an extra 25% off. It's our best value ever offered on these popular gifts. Don't miss this sparkling new Valentine's event. Visit DiamondsDirect.com to view the Diamond Classics collection, learn about designer trunk shows offering an expanded selection, and apply for zero-interest financing options up to 3 full years. Celebrate your love and save like never before at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
If you need to sell your home to buy a new home, it's never been more important to have an experienced negotiator you can trust. You need my friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty on your side, fighting for every dollar for you. Check out thegelmanteam.com. That's thegelmanteam.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is where real local and national accountability happens. This is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Well, the truth, well, it hurts to say. I'm gonna pack up my
You're listening to the
bags
Annie
and
Frey
I'm
Show
gonna go
on St. Louis's home
away.
for
I'm
conservative
gonna
talk.
split. I can't stand it. I'm gonna give it up and quit. Ain't never coming back. Oh, but before I get to going, I got to say, I know you used to love me, but that was yesterday.
Welcome back
And
to the Annie
truth-
Frey Show. Thank you for being here today on Valentine's Day. We're grateful for it. It's also, I recall, my dog's birthday, which probably means something to somebody. Probably not to my dog. I gave her biscuit when she came in from peeing outside today, and I was like, here you go. Aw. Because we had that old conversation yesterday about celebrating our dogs and getting them Valentine's gifts. I gave her that biscuit, but I literally said out loud, this is your birthday biscuit. She seemed happier.
Birthday biscuit.
Did she?
Her love language is gifts.
She just is happy. She's just happy to be there. Happy to be included. That's Rosie's language. That's one of the reasons why we named her Rosie, too. 2 reasons. Trevor Rosenthal, we have a habit of naming dogs after Cardinals players that quickly are no longer the pinnacle player that they were previous. We had a Beagle dog we got in 2006, in the fall of 2006. Dog's name was Duncan. And that was, if you go back and you look at Chris Duncan's stats in 2006, man, that was name your dog worthy baseball. For sure.
Wait, now, so Rosie was short for Rosenthal or Roses because of Valentine's Day?
It was, we went through Cardinals. It's always after a Cardinals baseball player.
Oh, okay.
And so we went with Rosenthal as a girl. She's our first girl dog, too. And it's harder for me to reconcile naming a dog that's female, a baseball. Like, one of our other dogs' names is Gibson. So.
Okay.
I don't feel like you can name a girl Gibson. I think you can today.
You can't name her Trevor either.
No. So,
I'd like to see you try.
It's 2023.
The other one that we had actually, I had a time hop thing pop up recently, and one of them that we considered for her was Molly, as short for Molina.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had a baby and named her Molly, not after Yadier Molina. Although, why not? There's really no good reason to. So we were talking about love languages. Today is Rosie's birthday, but also more important to more people, Valentine's Day. And we were discussing our love languages. I said that I appreciate the most acts of service, and I probably communicate that way, but I try to work hard at words of affirmation, and I think that is the easiest way to communicate it. Like it's like takes the least amount of effort and becomes a very good practice to get involved in that. Brad, you said words of affirmation both ways.
Yeah, words of affirmation mostly, and then acts of service.
Acts of service also, that's right. Ryan?
Yep, words of affirmation, receiving, and then I try to give acts of service.
Okay. And then Hannah hasn't answered yet, so we are asking her that now. So when it comes to love languages, words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, or acts of service, there are 2 different love languages that you need to know. You need to know what you're most comfortable speaking. So how do you communicate that you care about somebody the most? But also what speaks most crystal clear and quickly to you if somebody is going to communicate that way back to you?
I think it would have to be words of affirmation both ways. That's how I speak my love, and I definitely know that's how I perceive it best. I am really big on communication, and so I can tell that people love me by when they tell me directly.
Sure. And so again, it says how to communicate with somebody who appreciates that. You encourage, affirm, appreciate, empathize, and listen actively. I think that's definitely something. And in radio, where what we do on a regular basis, there's a lot of work that's condensed in a specific amount of time. So there's a ton of multitasking, but there are times where you need to just kind of stop and focus on somebody and listen. Actions to take. If you're speaking to somebody who has words of affirmation as their preferred love language, send an unexpected note, text, or card. Encourage genuinely and often. Things to avoid with somebody who speaks their love language with words of affirmation: non-constructive criticism or not recognizing or appreciating effort. Does that speak to you?
Absolutely.
Feel that?
1000%. Yep.
1000%. Physical touch is one that in the book. What are you laughing? What are you laughing at?
Hannah's laughing.
What's going on?
I'm just laughing.
There's a great conversation going on in chat about what their love languages are and stuff, and it's fun to dive in every now and then.
All right. Well, you guys keep it rolling there. Physical touch, how to communicate with somebody who has physical touch as their love language. Nonverbal use, body language, and touch to emphasize love. Actions to take: hug, kiss, hold hands, show physical affection regularly. Make intimacy a thoughtful priority. Things to avoid: physical neglect, long stints without intimacy, and receiving affection coldly. Receiving gifts is the third one.
That's my mother.
How to communicate: thoughtfulness. Make your spouse a priority. Speak purposefully. That's how she communicates it to you.
Uh-huh.
You said she was the one who was like buying all the neighbors Valentines.
Yeah, she is. We were talking about giving your dog a Valentine's Day gift. And I said, my mom's the type of person to buy our neighbor's dog a Valentine's Day gift.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, I know people who are very much like that. They're always showing up with things that are, and it's just a way to show affection. And maybe those people don't feel like they're as good with their words. And so they rechannel that into a different.
But she doesn't like to receive gifts herself. Her love language that she likes to receive is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different.
Well, that's good that you know the difference there. Yes. That's important. Actions to take with somebody who speaks that receiving gifts language: give thoughtful gifts and gestures. Small things matter in a big way. Express gratitude when receiving a gift. Things to avoid: forgetting special occasions. Unenthusiastic gift receiving.
Yay.
Thanks. I hate it.
If somebody is a gift giver and they've put a lot of thought, I mean, the phrase, it's the thought that counts, that really does mean something. If that person gives a gift and the person is like, oh, thanks, and maybe that person isn't an emphatic person, but that can be really hurtful. Mm-hmm. Even though that person may love the gift as much as you wanted them to love the gift, when it's like not exciting. Like if you've ever, I usually get more excited for 1 or 2 gifts I'm giving for Christmas. Like I can't wait to give this person this gift. And if that gift is open and they're like, okay, or does this come in a different color or something like that? And it's like, no. What a kick in the crotch.
Oh.
Oh, but you spelled Brad wrong. Thanks for the t-shirt though.
Bard.
Bard.
Quality time. This is how you communicate with somebody who appreciates that. Uninterrupted and focused conversations. One-on-one time is critical. Actions to take with somebody who appreciates quality time: create special moments together, take walks, and do small things with your spouse. Weekend getaways are huge. And things to avoid: distractions when spending time together, long stints without one-on-one time.
I'm surprised none of us said quality time.
None of us have time.
I was just going to say, I'm really grateful for it. Like, I read all those things and I'm like, oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic. I know, like I said yesterday, that you asked if we would go out for Valentine's Day. I'm like, we don't always go out for our anniversary. I mean, it gets to the point where we could make the time, but by the time we've done all of the things that need to happen with kids going places and babysitters, and we're just like, let's just hang out at home with the kids. We're okay with that. And I think that I understand if people don't understand it, but we're good, if that makes sense.
Can we talk about the highway robbery that is Valentine's gift giving? Because it drives me up a wall to see $5 for a little heart-shaped box in Walgreens.
Of 4 little pieces of candy?
Of maybe 4.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, but somebody is going to check a box when they buy that and give it. They're going to say, I gave you chocolates, whatever. But the expense is outrageous.
Yeah.
The last one being acts of service: how to communicate with somebody who appreciates acts of service. Use for action phrases like, I'll help. They want to know you're with them, partnered with them. Things that you can do, actions you can take: do chores together or make them breakfast in bed. Go out of your way to help alleviate their daily workload. Things to avoid: making the requests of others a higher priority or lacking follow through on tasks big and small. The mental energy that you give me by taking a task off of my plate so that I don't have to now juggle that with the other things. If I have, I say permitted, like my permission is needed, but if I have allowed you to remove that from my daily cycle of thinking and I've handed it to you and you're capable of doing it, I'm a big fan. But you combine, what in anybody's life, what goes on with work, with family, with kids, with spouses, with other obligations you might have, all of those things that you're juggling at one time. If you can take one of those out so that you don't have to juggle as much at one time, I mean, essentially what you're doing is giving me time and peace of mind back.
I was going to say, it probably speaks less to acts of service for you then and more to time. And I don't know if that's quality time.
I was going to say my quality time and my husband's quality time sometimes is maybe sitting next to each other in our, what we refer to as old people chairs. I don't know if that's allowed, but we bought them for that specific purpose. We have 2 lazy boys or whatever. They're not lazy boy. They might be. I don't even know. But we sit there and I'm probably on my computer and he's watching something he likes on TV and maybe Molly's asleep on his lap. That's it. That's good. I'm like, live for those days.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty good.
You can sit by Jared tonight.
I'll just sit like how Molly does.
On Jared's lap.
How big of a binky do you need?
I don't need anything special.
A bottle?
I'll sleep right through all that.
Just rub a little whiskey on his gums and out he goes.
It's not a move that I've ever made on my kids, but I have heard of it from a generation before me, that's for sure. Stick around, more Annie Frey Show and Valentine's Day talk. When we come back, go vote on the YouTube live chat poll, and we'll be back in just a minute.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain, very intense. I had instability. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what to do. And I was driving past the Good Feet store. I mean, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure they fit me with the right thing. They brought out several different arch supports and gave me the opportunity to try them in shoes and walk around with them until they found the perfect ones. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Dearborg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort you might have been missing for years. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
In-stock jewelry, there's still time at the Diamond Shop in Clayton. In-stock jewelry, 30% off. Mention the Annie Frey Show, and you are going to get an extra 10% off. Go make the stop on the way home at the Diamond Shop. They have something to fit all budgets. And like I said, when you buy jewelry from the Diamond Shop, it's going to last forever. It can be something that can be handed down over generations. That is the gift that keeps on giving, and it's going to go a long way. You get that little red bag, and you bring it home. They're going to be so excited to see it. It's the Diamond Shop in Clayton. They've been around since 1910. They know what they're doing. They have, as I said, a great amount of inventory in stock right now, and you can save 30% off of that. You can become a VIP as well on their website. It's thediamondshop.net, and get access to special savings and information through that website. They are there to help with a wide selection of engagement and wedding rings, fine jewelry, and watches. Save 30% in stock. Mention the Annie Frey Show, 10% extra, thediamondshop.net.
It's time to think about your tax refund. And Jackson Hewitt wants you to think biggest. As in, we guarantee you'll get your biggest refund or your money back plus $100. Who offers that? Come to think of it, nobody. It's one of the biggest guarantees out there and why you can't just file with anybody. For your guaranteed biggest refund, go to Jackson Hewitt today. Your wallet will thank you. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes.
My son Finn was born with congenital heart disease and spent the first 8 months of his life in the hospital. Starlight Children's Foundation has played an important role in our lives. For 5 weeks as a baby, Finn lived in a Starlight Hero wagon instead of having to sleep in a hospital bed. Starlight provides moments of joy for families like mine at a time where there's very little to be found. Learn more about how Starlight brightens the lives of sick kids by visiting starlight.org today.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A renewed call for gun reform. Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden pressing Congress to take steps, including an assault weapons ban.
There is no rationale for assault weapons and magazines that hold 50, 70 bullets.
This as he offers prayers over last night's mass shooting that killed 3 students and wounded 5 at Michigan State University. The 43-year-old gunman later killed himself. His motive remains under investigation. Today marks 5 years since the massacre that killed 17 at a Florida high school. The president speaking at a meeting of county officials from around the country aimed at focusing on his economic agenda and how local officials can help implement it. Republicans say his policies have been a disaster on multiple fronts, including the newest candidate for president.
It's time for a new generation of leadership to rediscover fiscal responsibility, secure our border, and strengthen our country, our pride, and our purpose.
Nikki Haley, the former South Carolina governor and former UN ambassador, becomes the second entry after her former boss, Donald Trump. She's been critical of him at times, but the Democratic National Committee says Haley has embraced the most extreme elements of the MAGA agenda. The oldest serving senator in Congress, California Democrat Dianne Feinstein, says she will not run for re-election next year. She's 89.
Feinstein says in a statement that she plans on finishing out her term focusing on legislation to fight gun violence, preserve lands, and promote economic growth. Some candidates have already declared their candidacy for Senator Feinstein's seat, including Congress members Katie Porter and Adam Schiff.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. An hour to the close on Wall Street. Stocks are mixed after an earlier sell-off. The Dow's down 69, but the S&P and the Nasdaq are higher. America is listening to Fox News.
When cold symptoms keep you up, try Vicks NyQuil Severe for max strength nighttime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks NyQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Get some rest and feel better with Vicks NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, sore throat, stuffy nose, fever, best sleep with a cold. Medicine. Use as directed.
Dell Technologies President's Day business event starts now with deals to power America's doers and dreamers. Save on select performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for President's Day deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Periods of rain. It's not a lot of rain total, but it's kind of wet as we go through this Tuesday afternoon. Strong gusty winds from the south. Some of the gusts pushing 45, 50 miles per hour. 55 for the high. Tonight, slow clearing, still windy all night long. 45. Wednesday, on track to be the warmest of the week by far. Lots of sunshine. 69 for the high Wednesday afternoon. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Annie Frey here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friend Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you strategies on how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Annie Frey Show.
Join Mosby Building Arts every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM. Rich Orse and guests give insider tips about renovations, design, construction, exteriors, and more. Tune in to Right at Home with Rich on Saturdays or catch the podcast online.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Planning for an upcoming trip? It's important to know that updated COVID-19 boosters are currently available at no cost to you. Remember that immunity could take time to build. Check eligibility and schedule at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Connect with the personalities and give your feedback. 97.1 FM Talk is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For content that's additional to the radio, join us there.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy Valentine's Day. We're grateful that you're here with us this afternoon. A reminder, you can stream us on the Odyssey app anywhere you go, anytime. 97.1 FM Talk. Follow it. You can also follow the Annie Frey Show. Today's YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, where you can go watch us right now as we're broadcasting live, is who would you vote for in the general presidential election? These are your 4 options. Don't tell me there should be different options, because these are the only choices. In the general presidential election, do you vote for Nikki Haley, the Democrat nominee, write somebody in, or you wouldn't vote. Nikki Haley announced today officially that she is running for president. She made a big, bold statement in this.
China and Russia are on the march. They all think we can be bullied, kicked around. You should know this about me. I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
Who's your vote for in the poll?
It's not for that ad.
And we're going to talk about that in a second.
But given the choices, Nikki Haley or the Democrat nominee, or writing somebody in or not voting, Nikki Haley.
Is that even difficult to answer for you?
No, not really.
I mean, again, the scenario is Nikki Haley wins the nomination.
Yeah.
And she's up against somebody. If you went out to 100 people, 100 of our listeners right now, and said, it's up to you right now, you get to choose. Do you want Joe Biden to keep being the president or put Nikki Haley in there? Like, who says Joe Biden?
Yeah, I mean, she seems like she actually would poll really well against anybody, but she's not really my choice for being the nominee
Sure.
either. So.
And that's what the primary is for. I just I'm constantly striving to look at big picture stuff here because I think it's going to be super simple. And I also am pretty confident. I take in my fair share of conservative media of all sorts, that the Donald Trump question and equation, every time someone gets in, that conversation is going to be had.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am pretty confident that people already know right now where they stand on that issue. And if that conversation is happening everywhere else, I just want to do something different because I really don't know that it's, at this point, a productive one to have. I don't have anything to say to anyone to persuade them to another candidate other than Trump because nobody's earned my vote yet. So I wouldn't even know who I would stump for at this point in time. And as we said earlier in the show, Donald Trump would be far and away the best opportunity for the Republicans to have the most effective 4 years in office if he can win. And the if he can win is the only concern that I have about him.
Mm-hmm.
Not what he represents, not how he would lead, not what he would do. It's just getting over that big, massive, living rent-free in the heads of Americans across the country on both sides of the aisle. It's a very powerful thing, but it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. And with I'll add this about Nikki Haley. Here's the thing. If you had to just put a list of her policy positions on a board, I'm not sure I would disagree with any of them. She checks all the boxes for basically anything I could think of. There's just this unspoken quality now that I'm looking for somebody who will fight the establishment, if whatever you want to refer to that as.
Restore an America first, people-centered government.
Yes.
Which is just populism.
Basically, but I mean, it's including things like taking on government agencies and things that I just don't get that sense from her. And maybe she would be that, but she doesn't seem to ruffle those kinds of feathers.
Well, and I think Brad, I'm curious what you think about this. You can't conflate. It is not this interchangeable word to say that diplomacy is the same thing as like swampism. That being able to be diplomatic in your leadership and forcefulness this is the direction we're going to go is different than being a part of the swamp. Because I think that Donald Trump has paved such a fork in the road where people feel very compelled to say, no, this is the way. This is the way. That the effectiveness that he can hand of being fearless, just utterly fearless to confront anybody on any turf at any time, that is an incredibly attractive trait for Republicans that go through life every day being reminded about what kinds of pieces of crap that they are just for existing.
Well, and not only that, but, looking at their leadership and their leadership kind of being kind of squishy when it comes to that, not sticking up for their constituents. That's why Donald Trump was so appealing, is because, okay, they hit him. What's he going to do? And he's like, oh, he didn't just take the punch and go, oh, well, we don't do that and adjust his tie. He swung back. And that, it's like that's where people got the idea that he fights for us. That's why, to me, it was so attractive.
And he, breaks the mold and says, Republicans can fight back. They just have to be willing to do it. Whereas previous, suggesting that if you can be diplomatic, if you can handle the business that one Donald Trump would definitely effectively be able to do if he were to win, handle the business of getting that swamp draining job done and do it without some of the what I would refer to as unforced errors by Donald Trump. I still think you can be tough and diplomatic at the same time.
No, I don't agree with, I don't disagree with that at all. Being diplomatic is something that you do need to be able to do to an extent to govern or lead at all. And she seems to have that, but, and I'm not even saying that she doesn't have any fight in her. I think she does have fight. She just seems to fight the traditional political battle, like me against the Democrat. And that's okay. It's just that there's something deeper, I think, that I'm looking for at this point that I haven't seen her address yet.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to know what you think, and you can go vote on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. We're saying the scenario is this. We're providing you a scenario. This is not in any way, shape, or form to persuade you to support Nikki Haley over another Republican candidate. She announced her candidacy for president today. So we're entertaining the thought, if Nikki Haley were to win that nomination, would you vote for Nikki Haley, Democrat nominee, a write-in, or you wouldn't vote? Right now on Fox News, can we pop up the TV here just in a second? The Ohio governor is addressing the toxic train derailment. Let's listen to what he has to say.
So today I brought many members of our team together to talk about the current monitoring that is that's underway, and to really answer any outstanding questions that may still be out there. Today I have experts from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, the Ohio Department of Health, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, the Ohio Department of Agriculture, Ohio Department of Public Safety, the Ohio Emergency Management Agency, the Ohio Department of Transportation, and the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. They are all in the room with me today. Let me go back to February 3rd, 8:55 p.m. when the train wreck occurred. While traveling through East Palestine on Friday night, February 3rd, a north-southern train derailed, causing a massive fire. Around 50 railroad cars were impacted by the crash, including 10 that were hauling hazardous materials. In addition to the fire, there is also serious environmental concerns. The U.S. EPA and the Ohio EPA worked to slow the flow of contaminated water, while firefighters worked to extinguish the blaze. By that Sunday, 2 days later, concerns began to arise in regard to the temperature in one of the cars. I was on a conference call that night around 7:30 when that information was first given to me. Based on the conversations that I was hearing and information, it was clear that more assistance was needed in East Palestine, and so I activated the Ohio National Guard to go there, which they did very, very quickly. I was also informed on that call about the car where the temperature was described as very volatile, and at that moment was in fact rising. The fear was that this car might explode, sending deadly shrapnel in all directions. The next morning, I traveled to East Palestine. I met with those on the ground, those who had been working, those who represented the railroad, as well as the federal government. It was clear at that point that we were faced with two bad options. One option was to do nothing and wait for the car to explode. I had a discussion with the representatives of the railroad, extended discussion. I brought Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro in that through my cell phone, and we went back and forth for a couple hours, trying to just weigh the risk, one versus the other. The risk of the car exploding was described to me as high, high probability that it could explode. And when I pressed everyone to give me the information about and also give Governor Shapiro the information, she was on the cell phone listening and asking questions, it came back that the concern was that this would be a catastrophic, what was described as a catastrophic explosion of the car, which would result in shrapnel going out up to close to a mile. We also looked at what the danger was from a controlled release, which is what the railroad felt should be done. Again, Governor Shapiro and I spent considerable time, up to about 2 hours, I recall, asking a lot of questions about how that would take place. We had the benefit of the Ohio National Guard that had done a modeling exercise. They did that in conjunction with the U.S. Defense Department, who gave them some additional information and help in regard to the modeling. The modeling was then produced into a map I believe that we showed everyone that day when we had our press conference. There was a red area that they described as the likelihood of death within that red area would be very high. There's an area outside that, the yellow area, where they also described it would be very dangerous to be there, but not quite as dangerous as it was within the red area. We then made the decision to go ahead with the second option, which was the controlled release. As that was being prepared to be done, we sent back law enforcement into those zones, the red zone and the yellow zone, for the third time to literally knock on doors. And they described how they did it to me. They did it in very loud, did everything they could do to get, if there's anyone left in that house, to get their attention to come out. That was the third time that those houses, I believe, had been contacted. The individuals in those houses had been contacted. The controlled release did in fact occur. It was, to my understanding, delayed a little bit. There was actually, when we, at 3 o'clock, release was supposed to be at 3:30. We wanted to get everybody out of there. We had members of the Guard and the patrol and others who had the area cordoned off. We told them to leave there at 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, there's a couple cars that came in, and they had to go get them out of that impacted area, or what would be an impacted area. So the release occurred, as I recall, about 4:15, 4:20, and we were monitoring the air outside that area. And the air continued to be good. Fast forward to the time when we opened it back up a couple of days later. We had sent in members of the Ohio National Guard and had their protective suits on to measure the air. And no one went back within that area or was allowed back in that area until they could come back and tell us that the monitoring was consistently good. In fact, the monitoring showed that the air was basically what it was prior to the actual train crash, or what we would have expected it to be at that time. People were then let back in. Our environmental teams remain in East Palestine, where they're working directly with the railroad and others to ensure that the site is thoroughly cleaned up with no shortcuts. This morning, I called Alan Shaw, CEO of Norfolk Southern. He and I have had contact numerous times since the crash. I discussed with him many of the concerns that we're hearing from residents of East Palestine. I asked him directly if he would personally guarantee that the railroad would stay there until absolutely everything was cleaned up. He gave me his word and his commitment that the railroad would do that. They would not leave until that was done. I might also mention that I received a call from President Biden earlier last week. He told me that he wanted just to assure me that anything I needed from the federal government, they would supply. And told me to call him personally if there was anything that we needed at any point. I told the president that I appreciated the work that we had received so far from the U.S. EPA. I also told him that I appreciated the help that the Defense Department gave the Ohio National Guard in regard to the modeling, that it was very, very helpful, and I expressed my gratitude for that. Let me also say that J.D. Vance and Congressman Johnson have been in touch with me. In fact, I just talked to both of them a moment ago again. They've expressed their interest in doing anything that needs to be done. I know Senator Brown has as well. And let me just now talk about something that I did learn today, which I think does impact Congress. I learned today from the PUCO, Ohio's PUCO, that this train was not considered high hazardous material train. Let me repeat this. This train apparently was not considered a high hazardous material train. Therefore, the railroad was not required to notify anyone here in Ohio about what was in the rail cars coming through our state. I would think that the members of Congress, and I would ask them to take a look at this. Even though some rail cars did have hazardous material on board, and while most of them did not, that's why it was not categorized as a high hazardous material train. Frankly, if this is true, and I'm told it's true, this is absurd. And we need to look at this, and Congress needs to take a look at how these things are handled. We should know when we have trains carrying hazardous material that are going through the state of Ohio. So I ask Congress to take a look at this and again see what they can find out, and if those facts as I related them are true, to take the appropriate action. So let me now get down to sharing the information that we have. Let me just state again, we will continue to do this. We're not leaving either. We're not leaving at East Palestine until everything is done. And we have, as I indicated, a number of agencies from the state of Ohio that have been involved, and they will continue to be involved as we move forward. Let me now ask Mary Mertz, the director of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, to come up. I think Steve Gray was going to come up as well.
So you've been listening to Mike DeWine. He's the Ohio governor. He's talking about the train derailment that was carrying toxic materials. The train, he just gave that information there, was not classified as a high hazardous train. And as he indicated there, he's got a lot of questions as to why that might be the case. We're going to monitor the rest of the reports that come out of this press conference here. We'll bring you the details and the highlights if necessary. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. We appreciate you being here. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Staying in your comfort zone is important on any day. You're in the middle of February right now, and your furnace has probably been working all winter, and maybe you've seen it kind of degrading over time. If you need to have experts come out and check your furnace to see what the situation is, to see if you need to replace it, or hopefully maybe there's just something that you need to fix, Air Comfort Service is ready to take that phone call. 314-513-0091. They are there to help you. They're there to give you information, to give you options. and to help you through that kind of anxiety-ridden process of, oh my gosh, what am I looking at here in the future? If you do end up having to make a furnace purchase and an air conditioner purchase, my family has done both of those with Air Comfort Service, and we were given options. And there are great opportunities for financing that you can attach yourself to, and also they connect you with every rebate that they can help you get to save money to make this more affordable for you. They are very, very highly regarded, lots of awards and great reviews online. Check them out for yourself. Call them at 314-513-0091, or you can check them out online at aircomfortservice.com.
We hear a lot about how different generations don't understand each other. What if we're wrong? Odyssey's podcast, It's Generational, is here to bring together baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z for conversations you won't find anywhere else.
I'm a little upset that I spend money on my hair.
I went and dyed my whole head purple.
I didn't get my license until 21.
And I wonder, as a Gen Xer, somebody who grew up biding your time as a teenager until you turned 16 and were able to get a driver's license.
Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Are there ways you could dramatically reduce your taxes in retirement? Oh, you better believe it. Learn how in a one-night adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. It's held at colleges and universities throughout Greater St. Louis. Each class is taught by a fiduciary advisor with decades of financial planning experience. In just 3 hours, you'll learn how you could reduce your taxes in retirement, get more from Social Security, pay for health care, invest for income, and more. If you've saved at least $300,000 for retirement, register by calling Financial and Tax Architects, your retirement professors, at 314-626-8816. You'll pay zero tuition if you call today. So don't wait. Call 314-626-8816. 314-626-8816.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes, stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
If you need a new bath or shower in the new year, call my friends at Bath Fitter of St. Louis. Mark Cox here. We love our new shower and tub enclosure. It looks fantastic. No demolition, no mess, and a lifetime guarantee. Right now, they're having a sale for 20% off up to $1,000 or zero interest until 2028. That's 5 years. Call 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. Bath Fitter of St. Louis. Attention bourbon lovers, Mark Cox here. Join me Thursday, March 2nd at the Clayton Wine House for an evening of sampling and mingling. Tickets include appetizers and tastings from some of the finest vendors in the market. Visit 971talk.com/events and get your tickets now.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
My funny Valentine, I know what's on your mind, and I know that you cry sometimes. Oh, baby, it's all in your head. Do you remember what I said when we sat there on your bed? Oh.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I like that song. I never heard it. I was just listening to it. Do you know the song?
No.
Do you?
No.
Hannah, come here. because she picks the music, and she does such a great job at it. You want to talk about things that people take off my plate? She took the music off my plate, and I love. Is that a song that I picked, or did you pull that out? It was in the library? Yeah. I wonder. Okay. Come stand by me. Come here. Come stand right next to me.
I just like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
What's your favorite decade of music?
90s. Actually,
oh boy.
Ooh, yeah, it might be the 70s.
It doesn't have to just be your like lived experience, like what you've taken from, because that like soda shop kind of music feels very 50s to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. But there's like, okay, how long can I listen to that and be like, all right.
You can listen to a couple songs, then you're moving on.
I don't know. It just feels, there are people listening right now who are alive in the 50s. We were all 80s babies except for Hannah, was born a month after September 11th, 2001. So we don't have like that whole classic. I worked Casey was a sister station to me for 10 years or something. I did not speak that language. The majority of the people listening right now do speak that language. I'm the oddity.
It would be really tough to say 70s because I like so much of the late 60s, early 70s music that I'm not sure I could pick either one of those decades because it kind of splits between them.
G-Wib says 80, Quick Rick says 70s, Vicky says 70s and 80s, Mike G says late 60s and 70s. A lot of people basically saying 70s, 80s, and 90s. I make a big case for the 40s.
What?
A lot of the music you've been sending me
Love it.
recently is
I know.
all from the 40s.
I sit in my car waiting to pick up kids or driving from A to B, and I listen to 40s Junction on Sirius. And there's a song about every single thing from the 40s.
So, aside from the Rat Pack, are there artists you can name from the 40s?
Sure. Like the Andrews Sisters.
Okay.
The Glenn Miller Band.
Who sings Moon River? Andy Williams. I mean, they're all the
they're all the Christmas
artists. It's all the Christmas artists, but they sing other songs about everything.
Yeah, okay.
That Drinking Rum and Coca-Cola song that I played is about Trinidad and servicemen coming down there, and they're very nice and generous, and so are the women.
Some good phrasing.
With a transaction.
Okay.
In the 40s. We know what you were doing. Don't act like kids these days.
They had tattoos in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
They would just be very subtle about it. They'd be like, boom, booms, transactions.
Yeah.
You're like, I think I know what that means.
We played the song Making Whoopee the other day.
Mm-hmm. Little less subtle. But...
And you said, now we just do songs, and your little quote was, we just say in songs to now doing the sex.
Yeah. Now we just say, do the sex. Do-do-do.
Don't. That's until you're married.
Well, I didn't say it was good. Just said that's
Stop.
what
No, stop. I tried to put a bow on it for mom and dad who are sitting in the car right now going, I thought I could trust you, Annie.
You can. You can also trust me, Ryan Wiggins.
No, you can't.
You can't.
Which is why I keep interrupting you right now.
So, I defer to Annie for the topic.
Which is over. Your favorite decade of music. Pick one.
I'll pick 90s.
Yeah. Brad?
Oh, man, this is so hard. 90s hip-hop.
Early 2000s, country specifically.
Oh, gosh, those are all great choices. All of them. I think I'd have to absolutely say 90s.
You know what's amazing?
And I would say 90s pop, but 90s pop was not pop. 90s, like what was popular in the 90s was kind of an alternative.
It was like
grunge,
Bush,
Nirvana, like that Pearl Jam, like those types of things.
There was early 90s pop, well, like Mariah Carey stuff.
I mean, there was 90s pop, but like pop music of the 90s is more like the boy bands that come in mid to late 90s.
That's right.
I just feel like if someone says 90s music, I'm thinking Nirvana before I'm thinking Backstreet Boys, which I am a Backstreet Boys girl, not an NSYNC girl. What about you? Which girl are you?
I am a Scary Spice. Spice Girl fan. That's Victoria Beckham, right? Nope, I don't know.
That one was Posh.
That was Posh Spice.
Is there a Scary Spice?
Yes.
Brad,
I don't know which is which.
Affirmatively.
My sister was a huge Spice Girls fan.
Yeah.
I can still hear what it sounds like coming through her room, through the wall into my room.
Yeah. How did it sound?
Bad.
Should get you to sing
But I
it.
still know the words.
Yeah.
Brad's favorite was Formaldespice.
Hunter says, what about O-Town, Annie? Knock it off. O-Town.
What's crazy is we look back, even in the 90s, but we were, all of us except for Hannah, we're alive in the 90s. But the people who are saying, and I wasn't alive in the 70s and 60s, I was alive in the 80s. When you look back at those decades, all you remember is the absolute best from those decades.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
But I would even take the worst of the 90s over
What's going
anything
on now?
today, but I'm checked out.
Yes, I am too.
I can't critically respond to the music of the 20s. 2020s. I can't critically react to it because I don't listen to it. If it has gotten to me, it's already gone through like the middle school phase of popularity to where my kids understand it or know it, or it's on Fortnite or something, and then I hear it, and then I realize, oh, that's been a song for 6 years, and I'm not aware of the fact that it's...
It's always fun when the young kids discover a song that was like released whenever you were in high school, and there's like, oh, have you heard this? It's like, ugh.
My son, if he's popping around on the Sirius channels, one of the first places he checks is the 70s station. And you know why? Because he loves the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. And that is great. We played Come and Get Your Love. Redbone today, earlier. And that is a Frey family favorite, but that is also on that soundtrack. But he's been exposed to that. We got him his guitar, his electric guitar for his birthday. And he can play Seven Nation Army. Boom, 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 boom. It doesn't sound that good.
On a
Oak
guitar?
Ridge Boys version?
Really?
Yeah, it's the Oak Ridge Boys version. Yeah, he can play that. No, what I just did is the Oak Ridge Boys version because it was my mouth, not with a guitar. But he sits down, he plays, and he like will listen to Johnny Cash and kind of it's very close to what my husband and I listen to in the car.
Yeah, of
and
course.
we're not listening to pop. So I'm like, are we taking away all of our kids' music exposure to the music of their time? And then I'm like, I check in on the music of their time, and I'm like, let's go back to Johnny Cash.
Heck yeah. Yeah, when he's 13, that's about when they'll probably start to switch over to find some newer stuff. Because that's about when most kids do.
It's so
13,
important,
14.
too, in my opinion, to be able to listen to music on the radio because of the way things are selected and the way things are mixed up for you, the exposure that you get. Because if you can command every song that you play if you dictate all of that, it's harder to explore. And other people will say at the same time that you can explore more music if it's all at your fingertips, but how would you even know?
I follow a couple people on Twitter just so I can see what's happening in pop culture. Just kind of like, oh, that's a thing.
Who?
I don't
Matt
know.
Walsh?
No, not Matt Walsh. Although I do follow Matt Walsh.
As do I. It's fantastic. I mean,
It's
literally,
fun.
it is how I come
Yeah.
to find a lot of pop culture
Me too.
things. He's criticizing it, rightfully so in most cases. But I'm like, thank you, Matt Walsh. I feel more
Didn't even
informed
know
now.
who that it was. But I'll see somebody post, oh, today is the 5-year anniversary of this #1 song. And I'm like, who's Doja Cat? Who's Black
Dance
China?
for me, dance for me, dance for me. Is that one?
That is a song that's pretty old. That's not Doja Cat.
God dang it. I
That's
was so close to
not
being cool.
Doja Cat.
And now I'm way farther away than when I started.
Exactly.
Further, Dad. I said further and further, not farther.
There's somebody that they keep posting about with Pink in the title, but it's not Pink. And
Pink?
I keep going, who?
Floyd?
Who is this? It's not Pink Floyd, and it's not Pink.
It's not Blackpink, is it?
It's Blackpink.
That's
who it was.
K-pop.
Oh, is
What?
it?
Yeah, Blackpink.
I don't know any of the
I don't
words you're
know.
saying.
What's
K-pop.
I don't know K-pop.
Do you know what K-pop is?
No.
K-pop is
Oh.
Korean pop.
Korean pop.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Never
what
heard
was
Japanese
it?
pop is J-pop.
BTK? Was that? There was a boy band that came over. Smooth Like Butter.
Oh, I know Smooth Like Butter.
That's K-pop.
I know one person's name in that band. His name is Jimin. Because I think it's funny. If I had to pick a random name, it'd be Jimin.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I have no comments.
There's nothing to say.
I know none of this.
It all is out there, Annie. It's a huge world.
It's BTK.
I think it's BTK.
I thought it was BTS, but that's behind the scenes.
No, I think you're right.
I've heard BTS.
Is that it?
Now
Well,
we
we
gotta
say
look it up.
BTS, so I don't know.
Y98 is about to storm the studio.
He does agree. Hayes is going to kick the door open.
It is BTS.
Yeah, that's right. I
That's
knew one
right.
thing. Yes.
What'd you say, BTK?
Was that the killer? The BTK killer?
No, the Killers are a band, though.
I know the Killers.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of.
We have some killers in the library.
American serial killer.
correcting me.
Yeah, Dennis Rader.
Did you say you
American
think we have some killers in the library?
Our music library.
BTK is the serial killer.
Right. We don't even have a library.
There's a library right outside the door.
Oh.
I thought you were talking about the St. Louis Public Library.
Sweet. I was able to maintain my street cred.
You've got some killers out there.
Thin ice there for a minute.
I was like, it's like,
killers
you
out
look
there.
at how much he knows about K-pop, and I completely got the biggest bands.
You know BTK. And I'm like,
the
no,
serial
I don't.
killer.
You know how much I don't know about these people? I was like, oh, cool, I'll check them out.
Different
BTK.
band.
Man, Brad, you're into weird stuff.
You ever heard of BK?
Burger King?
Have it your way.
Here's a perfect example of
your
what I'm
way.
talking about. What are you going to sing the Burger King jingle? My son, walks around singing all. He's like, I know this one and I know that. I go, what are you singing? He's like, it's Burger King. And I'm like, I got nothing.
It's the meme now.
Burger King the restaurant or Burger King the band?
Are they different? I don't know anything. Can we talk about presidents when we come back? So
Let's talk about politics.
A little bit. Let's not. Happy Valentine's Day. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Michael's Flooring Outlet, your destination for great value on the flooring that you are looking to purchase. If you go to their website, they will show you how you can fall in love with new floors. You can shop online right there and contact sales help through their website, which is very helpful. Get an estimate. You can request it at igotfloored.com. That's where you visit to shop, to peruse. But if you want to go walk in the store, I appreciate it so much being able to walk around the flooring that they have in displays out there in the shop, because you can kind of feel it under your feet and get a better idea of how it's going to look on a grander scale. If you get, one small sample size of what some flooring is going to look like, it's very hard to visualize that in your home. And you get to walk on it and feel it, especially if you're looking to buy carpeting, that hypoallergenic Mohawk Smart Strand, or the all pet solution that you can have for your home. Being able to feel different size paddings underneath it, makes you make a more educated purchase. And that's what they're all about at Michael's Flooring Outlet. Shop online now at igotfloored.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When companies decide to take shortcuts, the safety of our families are at risk. At Underlaw, we find and expose those shortcuts.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Brian Clark, Senior Fellow and Director for the Center for Defense Concepts and Technology at the Hudson Institute.
These vehicles are probably things that have been floating over U.S. airspace for a while and that we just haven't been paying attention to.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
They say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out till we grow. Well, I don't know.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I got you, babe.
Say that on the air, Brad.
I got you, babe.
I'm going to make a lot of Sonny and Cher fans mad.
Yeah, there's a ton of those.
But I struggle with this song to tell which one is which.
This is Sunny, right?
That would be my guess.
That was Cher.
That's Sunny.
That's a different one.
I don't know.
I know that they're different, but they're so similar.
Yeah, he's got kind of a high voice and she's got kind of a low voice.
This is both of them.
I got you.
That's how I know.
Yeah.
I laugh at that, but you're right. Happy Valentine's Day. We're grateful that you're here with us today. A reminder, you can follow the Annie Frey Show on our Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download it and type in Annie Frey, Frey, and we'll pop up there at the top right, white words, white letters that say follow. Click that, and you'll be subscribed to our podcasts and be able to rewind and stuff. You can do the same thing with 97.1 FM Talk, and I highly encourage you to do that. We have had a lot on the show today. We did just hear from the Ohio Governor DeWine talking about the Ohio train derailment. If you want to hear what he had to say, you can rewind about 20 minutes ago or so on that app and listen to it. And then I'll go back even further to 105. Congressman Mike Bost joined us, and he talked about his reaction to my general question, what the heck is going on in our country right now? Very interesting to hear his thoughts about being in his physical front yard, taking pictures of the balloon as it flies over his home and the bases that are around here. He had some very pointed words, very interesting conversation that we had with him. Real quick, Ryan, do you and Katie have a song? We've talked about this before.
Yeah, it's if we had to pick one, it would be Late in the Day by Supergrass.
And do you have, is that just like was it your first dance or is it just the song?
I don't know. It's just one that we listened to a lot when we were dating, I think.
Yeah.
And just it's a nice mood song.
Yeah. What about you, Brad?
Oh, yeah, we have a song.
What's your song?
It's Everything by Michael Bublé.
Oh, it's a great song. Sorry, Jared. When we were trying to pick a song for our first dance, I had probably like 10 songs that I picked, and he was like, no, 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 no. And it was very bizarre. He has the premier, whatever you need, dear, attitude, just in general. He's happy to help. He's genuinely the nicest person I've ever known. And I've seen people take advantage of him because of that. And I've seen him see that they're taking advantage of him because of that and still decide, full speed ahead. He's the best man I know. He was a real jerk about the first dance song. And I give him crap about that all the time. Like, one of those 10 songs will come on the radio. I'll be like, this could have been it. That could have been it. And he's just like, no, I don't understand it.
Well, how'd you decide?
The song that we ended up picking was called Oh Love by Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood. And it was on the album. Do you know this song? I bet you don't.
I don't.
Nobody knows
this song.
Surprised. It's a great song. And it was on the album that Brad Paisley had just released. And we're like, this is going to be a huge hit. We'll get in on the ground floor. And I've never heard it on the radio. Not a single time. I still love it.
It makes it more special.
It does, in a way. And so he would take credit for that. Fine, you can have whatever. But it was just like, there are a few things. The other thing that he was really, really picky about, and I think I'm probably giving you the only two things that he's ever had a stronger opinion about enough to tell me no. One was our wedding dance song, and the second one was our bedspread. The first time we went to buy a bedspread. Do you care about your bedspread?
No.
Do you?
Nope.
He didn't want it to be too, like,
girly,
pretty.
Flowers.
And I'm like, when we were getting,
relate to that.
When we were getting married, I was like, I was under the impression that you didn't have a say in this. And I was wrong. And we got something that had like, I think it was like a white middle with like designs, like lines down the side, just like blocks. Yeah. And he just cared a lot about that. And it was like, okay, if you care so much about it, you pick out, if our thing is pick 3 that you're okay with, I'll pick one from those 3.
Does he still care about that, or was that a one-time thing?
No.
Okay, good.
Oh my gosh,
Did you figure out at some point?
No.
Nobody sees this with me and my wife.
He just wants to sleep in the bed with me.
Yeah.
Because when you have a 18, 20-month-old or whatever, he gets up with her in the middle of the night. He can sleep in a chair. I say he doesn't have a problem with that. He's willing to do it. It's just something that he's done. I think that pregnancy is so difficult for me that when I'm not pregnant, he overcompensates because he's a great guy, great dad, for helping out with those more difficult things after. I mean, and pregnancy is okay for some people. It's hard for others. It was very difficult, and it got more difficult with each pregnancy that I had. So he just would always pick up that slack, and I'd get up and be like, can I help you? And he's like, nope, go back to bed. So he goes downstairs and sleeps in the chair whenever Molly wakes up. We're not doing it right. Don't tell me we need to let her sleep it out or cry it out or whatever. We're probably screwing it up. But we're at the point where we're like, anything to get some sleep. And so if he could just sleep, anytime he gets to sleep through the night, which is maybe a couple times a week, upstairs in the bedroom, he's A-okay with that. The bedspread, not anywhere near. If I came home with the floweriest, girliest bedspread, he'd be like, where'd you get that? And I'd say Kohl's, and he'd go, okay. And then he'd go on his day.
So he wouldn't care if you got something like a Doja Cat bedspread.
I have to Google that real quick.
What is up with you and Doja Cat today?
Just picking out things that Jared might not like. Derek.
Who's Derek?
Doja Cat. Oh, I don't think I wanted to Google that.
I don't know. Maybe you
Yeah.
don't. I have no idea.
I'm not Googling that. It's my computer. I'm not even going to do it. Today's YouTube live chat poll has to do with big news of the day, in the political world at least. Nikki Haley announcing that she is officially in the running for the presidency. You want to do the poll?
Yep. Who would you vote for in the general presidential election? This is just a fake little scenario. It's not real that we know of. Would you vote for Nikki Haley, a Democrat nominee, a write-in, or would you not vote at all? With over 195 votes, 70% of the people said they would vote for Nikki Haley, which is a lot.
Yeah.
19% of the people said they would do a write-in vote. 6% of the people said they wouldn't vote at all, and 5% of the people said they would vote for a Democrat nominee. That's interesting.
70% with almost 200 votes. We just need 4 more votes before the show wraps up here to get over 200. 70% of the people say Nikki Haley and 19 saying write-in. I'm actually kind of happy that it's that much, which makes me feel even more so like we don't need to have that Trump conversation every day. If it's Trump, those people are voting for Trump, of course. If it's not Trump, 70% of this very scientific poll are still saying, yeah, I'd vote for Nikki Haley. You might be going, bleh, while you do it. Maybe you're not. But 19% of the people writing in, that's not very helpful.
Well, yeah, and 25% if you count the wouldn't vote. So
yeah, a fourth.
If you think these are mostly conservative voters, that's roughly 25% that are not going to vote for her no matter what.
We'll do this each time someone gets in the race and kind of set up that same scenario so you can weigh in on it. We appreciate you being with us today. Happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Happy.
Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy the people who you love. Mark Reardon coming up next.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor